I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 73 of Tales from Godric's Hollow, the number one Harry Potter podcast to listen to around the family dining room table this Thanksgiving holiday. And for our international listeners, the best Harry Potter podcast to listen to on an average Thursday. If you want to, or you can listen to it early, whatever. This is a weird episode coming at you. Why is that? Because we were sneaky. We were also deceitful. This is actually Tuesday morning, November 21st, 2017. Not our normal Monday night. Some things happened, and here we are recording this episode for you just before the Thanksgiving holiday. I am one of your hosts. I am the muggle of the show. I am Josh Brown. I am joined, as always, by the very late, but still, oddly enough, still on time, Professor Matt Sonnenberg. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Josh.
Safe travels?
Indeed, yeah. I didn't run into any problems there. Just a couple of noisy kids in the plane, but it's to be expected, I guess, right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a weird time to travel this time of year, you know?
It's true.
You're going to run into a lot of people who aren't used to traveling because they're going to go see family. Any other time of year, like, you usually get people that are, like, going on vacations or business, or more than not, people that are accustomed to flying on a regular basis.
Well-seasoned travelers.
Yes. But holiday season, you get the rookies, you get the amateurs, you get the first-timers, you get the kids and the babies and the grandparents and everybody that we absolutely love traveling with. Just a smorgasbord of people on those flights. So I'm glad you made it back safely.
Me too.
You did make it back in sort of late. Late enough to where we didn't feel like it was in the best interest of our listeners to try to record a podcast. Jet lag, it's only a couple hour trip for you, but still, it's real. And you had a very busy weekend, and we just wanted to put on the best show that we possibly could for people. So, me having the week off, you sitting around having nothing to do today, we decided just to do it this morning and have fun with it.
Yes.
This is for you guys, folks. And Brent, I know you tweeted at us, making sure that we were recording last night. I'm sorry for kind of lying to you on Twitter, but we had to do it. I didn't want to get into it last night with people as to why we weren't recording and just freak everybody out, and there'd be a mass panic and hysteria, and, is the episode coming before the holiday? Is it coming on Wednesday? Like, yes, everything's going to be fine, people. It's just, look, it wouldn't even have been an issue if it wasn't for Brett in the first place. Let's just put this out there. Right? Like, he's the only one that pointed out, like, are you still recording?
Brent caused panic.
Yeah.
All right.
So we had to diffuse it a little bit, but here we are with another episode. I have a couple things to go over real quick here, Matt.
Sounds good.
First things first.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday I opened up a package that was delivered to my house.
I heard something about this.
Yeah. Now, I order a lot of things from Amazon.
Yep.
Especially this time of year.
Sure. Getting ready for the holidays.
Yeah. If Val ever orders anything that's for her or possibly for me that she doesn't want me to know about, she will always tell me ahead of time. Right?
Yeah.
Just so I know. Yesterday I was home. She was at work, and doorbell rang, went and got the package, and I, without thinking, because I was expecting something from Amazon yesterday, so without thinking, I just opened up the box. And inside was this giant purple fluff ball. And I look at its cute little face, it's staring back at me, sitting in the box, and I panic. And I'm like, oh no, Val got me something for my birthday, and I just opened it. How do I re-tape this Amazon box so she doesn't know that I saw it?
Yeah.
Because they use special, like, Amazon tape, you know.
I was going to say, yeah, Amazon needs to sell rolls of their tape.
I went into panic mode, Matt, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? Like, I just need to tell her, like, she's going to be disappointed. I just need to just get it done. I just need to do it, you know, fess up. I, close it up, and I look at the label, and it's addressed to me. That's when the confusion really kicked in, Matt.
Sure.
I didn't know I ordered anything from Amazon that looked like a giant purple cotton ball. So I took it out of the box and I investigated it, and it had a little Harry Potter Wizarding World tag on it. Mm-hmm. But no other indication as to what it was or who it was from. I am 99% sure this is a Pygmy Puff.
You would be correct.
Okay. Again, no indication at all as to what it is.
I've noticed that they barely tag it as Harry Potter in the first place. Like they for whatever reason they don't want to like mark up the product, I guess.
Right.
But I've noticed that with a lot of their stuff, it's like you're just supposed to know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is really confusing if you're not actually at the park buying it at, the Wizarding World. You're just there was no box. And
you didn't order it online where there was a nice description.
Right. But there was like no box, there was no bag. Yep. It was just this thing sitting in a brown Amazon box with bubble wrap around it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a Pygmy Puff then.
Yes.
A purple Pygmy Puff. This thing is adorable. Do you know who it came from?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, I want to thank that person. If they want to remain anonymous, that is fine. If you want to tell me off the air, that is also fine.
I think we might get to it in email.
Okay. Well, in advance, thank you. This was awesome. It was a very strange and weird surprise. A lot of confusion. But ultimately, it's pretty amazing, and I love it. So...
Awesome.
Yeah. Second thing. Real
quick,
Matt. You know I love my Harry Potter news.
It's true.
When Harry Potter makes the headlines or pop culture references or whatnot. This isn't old, and this isn't new news. This is old things. But Val and I started rewatching The Office. Have you ever seen The Office?
Yes.
Okay.
I've watched the entire thing almost as much as I watch Harry Potter, probably.
Perfect. This is the first time Val's been through it.
Oh.
This is my second time through the series.
Okay.
We are in season 3 when Michael Scott. Now, okay, for our international listeners, us Americans, we decided that The Office was a really good show made by Ricky Gervais, so we decided to make our own show called The Office. With the help of Ricky Gervais. So this is the American U.S. version of The Office, not the much acclaimed UK version. Season 3, Michael Scott. Yep. They just had the merger with the other office, and they discovered that one of the new employees is a convicted felon and was in prison.
Yes.
So they start having a discussion about what prison life is like. Michael Scott goes into this whole thing about dementors and sucking your soul and happiness from your body, and like just going on and on about how awful dementors are and why that makes prison so awful. One more reference that I never would have understood at any point in my life up until now. And I was smiling from ear to ear about it. And then I panicked, though. And I was like, oh, no.
Where is he going to go?
Yeah, where is this going? So I immediately covered my ears and I said, just let me know when they're done talking about Harry Potter. So it went on for a few more seconds. She was like, okay, they've moved on. But there was a panic of, yeah, this could go really bad real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I thought it was funny.
Harry Potter's everywhere, man.
Man, it really is. It really is. We have 2 chapters to talk about this week. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, chapters 8 and 9.
Yep.
I'm going to give the people out there a little taste of what's to come, Matt.
Okay.
I loved them.
That's good.
Yeah. Really excited.
Yeah. Your notes did seem a little more excited this week.
Yeah. A little bit more concise. I didn't feel like the chapters were that long.
Yeah. They're tucked in there neatly.
Yeah, it was good pacing for both of them. Like,
yeah, I think that was a big part of it. Is they kept moving. We weren't just sitting on a train for an entire chapter.
Yeah. There wasn't any point where I felt bored or uninterested in what was going on. It was good. I liked it. I was like, yes, we're getting back into what I know and love of this series. So
sure.
We'll have fun talking about those. We have emails at the end of the show. First, we need to do what we always do, and that's give away an awesome prize to one of our awesome community members. What are we giving away, Matt?
This week we were giving away one pair of Luna's Spectre Specs.
Yes. The maybe not as magical Spectre Specs as I wanted them to be, but still cool nonetheless.
Yes.
I asked everybody to write in last week, talesfromGothic@gmail.com, with a suggestion for the name of the Niffler in the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them film. Because after discussing it, that little sucker doesn't have a name at all.
No, he doesn't.
A tragedy. Absolute tragedy. So we asked the listeners out there to name him. Try to name him. Or her. It. Name it. So, how many responses did we get, Matt, and what number should I pick from?
We are looking at 14 this
14.
Week.
All right. Boy, this is tough. Let's go with lucky number 13.
All right. That will go to...
I feel like that's a very Slytherin number, so...
Alexandra Brockway.
Hey, congratulations, Alexandra Brockway. What was the name that was given?
She says, in the spirit of Arnold the Pygmy Puff and Frank the Thunderbird, I submit Archibald the Niffler. Or Archie for short.
Archie, yes. I like it. I approve.
Awesome.
Archie the Niffler. Did we have any... Did you read through all the submissions?
Of course.
Yeah? Did we have some standout ones or repeat? Anybody give the same name? That'd be funny.
Honestly, I could probably just pick out the name. I won't read the full explanations necessarily, but I can give you some names.
Sure.
There's one for pastries.
Okay.
That was leaning towards Jacob, I believe.
Sure.
Nelson.
Okay.
We had kudai, the Chinese word for pockets, apparently.
Oh, cool.
Fluffy or scavenger.
Okay.
We had pilferer. that fitting as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Sticky Paws or Goldie. A lot of people gave multiple names, by the way.
Sure.
I don't know if I mentioned that. We got Nork, the Niffler.
Okay.
We got Hades, which is my go-to name for all black fuzzy creatures, including my own cat.
Okay, sure.
There you go. So some of them do need a little explanation, I guess. We got Tom. It's an interesting one.
Okay. I can see that.
Interesting choice.
Yeah.
Given all our other Toms. Nikolai or Nikki for short.
Okay.
People do like their alliteration,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sir Niffles.
Sure.
Ramsey, which means wild, or Eris, which is the goddess of discord. Also makes sense. Let's see. 2 more here. It looks like Wally and Sutter. After Sutter's Creek in California where they found the gold.
Oh, okay. Cool. A lot of good names.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
They definitely put some thought into it.
Yeah. But you know what? Honestly, I'm pretty okay with Archie.
That's good.
Yeah. Archibald's a little too regal for this Niffler. Like, this is a troublemaking Niffler, you know?
It's true.
He likes his gold and jewels and whatnot, but I just... I don't want to give him that prominence, that status that comes with that kind of name. Let's bring him down a peg.
But you could also hear it, his mother yelling at him,
oh,
Archibald.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, when he's really in trouble, like, that's probably what Newt's calling him, you know?
Yeah.
But when he's just, like, playing around with him, it's Archie.
Sure.
Archie the Niffler. JK, when, you get a chance to listen to this podcast, feel free to write that in to make it official, so.
All right.
Just throwing that out there. Let's talk about some chapters now, shall we?
We shall.
All right, let's do this.
Chapter 8, Snape Victorious.
First of all, weird chapter title.
Definitely.
Like, it doesn't roll off the tongue very well, and I was questioning grammatically if it was correct. I don't know. There was a lot of weirdness with the title itself. I still don't like it. Like, even like this far removed and looking at my notes and hearing you say it, like, it's just, I get it. I understand it, but I don't like it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We got mentions of, I believe, 2 new characters. They're if they're not new, they probably just mentions before. They're still just mentions now. Proudfoot and Savage. They're the other Aurors that are hanging out in Hogsmeade with Tonks.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are some of those names where it's like, yeah, they could have easily been mentioned at some other point without too much fanfare. Okay. Interesting chapter. So, started off with Harry on the train.
Yep. Frozen on the train.
He's kind of rolling around there underneath his invisible...
Not rolling around.
Nah, he rolled over once. Onto his side. He did a half a roll.
Okay.
In my head, it's a lot funnier than it probably is. So, I predicted maybe Luna is going to see him with those fancy glasses that she has that could see through invisibility cloaks, right?
Yeah.
And this whole idea of like how he's going to be saved.
Yep.
Ultimately, though, I said he's getting off that train. He's not going to go back to London.
Definitely, yeah.
Silly.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Tonks was a nice surprise.
Yeah. You've always kind of said you want more Tonks. So.
I do, but I
and like the biggest caveat in your plan was always we follow things from Harry's perspective. Harry goes back to Hogwarts, and the Aurors aren't going to be there, so
right.
We're not going to get more of them. But here you are.
Yeah. Well, she's kind of assigned to protect him. It sounds so, or to be there as backup.
Yeah.
Essentially. But I miss the fun, colorful, vibrant Tonks. I don't like the sad, serious, grown-up Tonks.
Yeah.
I don't like it one bit.
Gone kind of emo.
A little bit. Also, pointed out that like she's grown up a lot, in the last few months.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, the war started, and that's
ages people,
what happens.
Man.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Stay young out there, young people. Don't get old. Get old, stupid. Don't do adult things. Have fun. all the kids listening out there, enjoy your younger years. Trust me.
You'll miss them.
Yeah, badly. Okay, so Tonks used a Patronus, right? So she got Harry off the train. He's all beat up and mangled, and she fixes his nose and whatever.
Yeah, he's a little cautious about it, but she seems to get the job done.
Sure, yeah. So she's going to take him back to Hogwarts, but she needs to send out a flare, essentially.
Yeah.
A message. A messenger.
I've got Harry.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Come get him. Come retrieve him. Yeah. So she sends out a Patronus.
Mm-hmm.
Has 4 legs.
Yes.
But we don't know what it is.
No.
And it's even... So I'm already like, I wonder what it is, just out of like flat out curiosity, because I want to know these things, you know?
Yes. It's an animal, it's magic, like, you want to know.
And I like Tonks. Like, if it was just some random wizard, I'd be like, I don't care what their Patronus is at all. But this one I was super curious about. Well, that was pushed even further when our good friend Snape comes strolling down, and he makes mention of he liked her old Patronus better than her new Patronus.
Yeah.
So that got my mind racing, because I didn't know you could change Patronuses, Matt.
Well, yeah, this
is not a thing that we've discussed.
It gets tricky, yeah. So, in the first place, I guess you don't really like get to choose your Patronus in the first place, right?
Right. Yeah.
It just like, kind of comes out as what it is.
Kind of your spirit animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you.
So,
it embodies your mood, I guess, your personality.
Okay, so with that in mind,
true.
You see what's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me sad.
Yeah, there's something heavy enough going on that it's really affecting her magic. Like we've mentioned that it's affecting her magic already, with her not like shape-shifting as much.
Right.
But now it's changing her Patronus.
It must be. It feels like it would take a lot for that to happen.
Yeah, like I don't think this is something you would expect. I mean, I'm not surprised that Snape noticed it and realized that this is a thing. Like, he's not surprised that it changed,
right?
I guess.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I would expect to see, twice in a lifetime.
Sure. Yeah, serious big events to change somebody.
Yeah.
I guess. So now I'm even more curious what it is and what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know why they're keeping it a secret. Is driving me nuts. Because if it wasn't a big deal, JK would have just said this Patronus came out, like not go through the whole thing of like it had 4 legs and then Snape said it was blah, blah, blah. Like, just tell us what it is. But she's not telling us for a reason, and that is driving me nuts.
And that's why we have Muggle theories.
It's not even about what it is or was. It's about why we can't know what it is.
Uh-huh. Plenty of room for a theory there.
Is it Crookshanks? Is Tonks Crookshanks?
I don't know.
Oh my god. I'd die. But that would be a good way for Tonks to keep an eye on him.
That would be rather convenient.
Mm-hmm. She could shapeshift. Can she? Is she an animagus too? Huh. There's a lot to Tonks we don't know. I can't wait to find out. So Snape. He's just a charming delight every time we get to see him, isn't he?
That's Snape, yeah.
One of these days, Matt. One of these days, I hope we'll have like a non-upsetting, creepy talk with Harry and Snape.
Yeah.
I hope. it just makes me miserable. I feel for Harry. He's so miserable every time he has to talk to him and deal with him, and it's just Snape gets pleasures out of little things in life that no one really should, but he does. We missed the sorting hat ceremony again. This isn't the first time.
Yeah.
Kind of bums.
Sometimes I wonder if J.K. just didn't feel like coming up with another song. It's like, how can Harry miss the sorting this year?
Yeah. Which we get a recap of it. Hermione lays it out, and she's like, "Yeah, same old thing. Like, we must unite for this war that's coming, and blah blah blah." So it didn't sound like there was anything exciting from it, but it is kind of like a special thing that happens at Hogwarts that is noticeable when we miss it.
Yeah.
So, kind of a bummer, but whatever. There's mention of Hagrid being a little bit late to the meal also. Mm-hmm. What's that about? Well, all these just random little hints at foreshadowing of things to come,
The details matter.
Full of them, this book, though. Just full of it. And I think I'm just more sensitive to every one of them also, which isn't helping anything.
Yeah. Especially when they involve Hagrid, you're going to pay attention.
Yeah, pretty much. Why is Hagrid? Last year, he wasn't there because, he was on a giant mission. So,
a giant mission. Yes.
Oddly enough, that's why he was late this time, is because he was hanging out with Grop, getting them all settled into his new home in a cave up in the mountains. I like it. We don't find that out until the end of the chapter, but
it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that he mentions Dumbledore set it up for him.
Yeah.
Which means Dumbledore knows about Grop.
Right.
Which, I always questioned if he knew that beforehand. He knew, Dumbledore knew Hagrid went to the Giants, and he knew it took a while to get back, but did he know, what did he know past that?
Yeah. As we've discussed before, Matt, there's 3 things I know about Dumbledore.
Yeah.
He has style.
It's true.
He's pretty good at magic. And he seems to know everything at all times. Also
true.
Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he would have known about Grop and helped Hagrid set him up. And, it's one of those things where it's just that's just part of Dumbledore at this point. It's
fair enough.
Not even point trying to make sense of it because it just makes sense as it is.
Yeah.
Hagrid, though, saying that he's going to hopefully get him to the point where he could have him as an assistant. Hagrid has some wild dreams of things that probably should not happen. He just doesn't know better sometimes, Matt.
He's, I guess, basically that hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
That is always going to believe that, it could happen. I could do this.
Yeah.
But
I could have my giant half-brother come and assist me with the care of magical creatures class. No problem. That's totally cool.
He won't try to eat every creature we put in front of him.
Would Grop bow to a hippogriff? How do you get that to happen?
Yeah.
Bad things would happen, Matt. Trelawney is back.
She is.
This time at the teacher's table.
Yeah. Yeah, she's still there, still teaching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, still teaching is kind of a story in itself because she was removed from her teacher's position last year. So, we later found out that her and Ferenz are going to be splitting up the class of divination. So, pretty much just because Ferenz can't go back, so he has to do something. And
Dumbledore's that guy who's going to keep him on. So.
Yeah. So, Trelawney has a job, once again, which we knew she was probably going to be at Hogwarts. We didn't necessarily know for sure she would be teaching again. She could have just been hanging out, an assistant to the regional manager or assistant regional manager, however you want to. I'm sorry, I'm in office mode right now.
I noticed.
Matt, I had a great idea for a reality show.
Yeah?
Yeah. Ghost gossip.
Ghost gossip.
Yeah. Pretty much all the ghosts of Hogwarts and what they gossip about when they aren't around all the students.
I suppose, yeah. You just get cameras to follow around the ghost and see what goes on.
Yeah, because Nearly Headless Snake was talking about how, he was hanging out with his ghost friends and, like, reassuring them that everything's okay and, who's trustworthy and not. And it just...
What else do they have to do? I mean, they float around the castle talking.
And gossip? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That needs to be a spinoff.
All right.
Of what the ghosts do when the students are doing their thing. Okay. Let's be real. When I say, like, just the ghosts, like, I want to know everything that's going on in the castle when the students are busy. I want to know what the house elves are. Like, house elves and ghosts, like, interacting together.
So
that's happening.
I was going to say, yeah, you could follow the ghosts around, but, I mean, naturally, they're going to explore the entire castle as we follow them, so.
I pretty much just want a mockumentary-style Office remake featuring the ghosts of Hogwarts.
Although I just realized following ghosts around could be quite tricky because they're going to keep floating through walls.
Yeah.
And like, unless you find a way to give a ghost a camera, like a ghost camera that can go through the walls as well, like you're just going to have cameras set up everywhere to follow them around.
You constantly have the cameraman just like running to catch up because he has to get to the door and not go through the wall.
Yeah, I have to use these doors over here. Would you mind waiting for me?
It'd be great.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. Okay. Business as usual at Hogwarts, according to Dumbledore. Like, his speech wasn't riveting or exciting or emotional.
Yeah. No big tournaments to announce.
No. Just a normal year at Hogwarts ahead of us. Like, there wasn't even, like, the bracing the kids for horrible things part, Like, he did mention, that Voldemort's back.
I by this point, I think they all fully understand that, so he didn't have to tell them again.
Yeah, but this is the first time where it's been not an urgent thing, not a like all hands on deck emergency lockdown type of announcement about it. It's just like, it's happening, so let's deal with it,
Sure.
Calm and cool and collective, like we know Dumbledore to be. He pointed out something that I wasn't ready to admit to myself, Matt.
Yeah.
And kind of broke my heart a little bit when I had to think about it. But Lee Jordan is gone.
He is.
And what's weird about this is the first character that we've lost. Now, I say lost because I have no idea if Lee Jordan's ever coming back in the story or not. But the first character that we've lost that I've had an emotional connection to that just left because they were done with school. Not because they died or anything else horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a weird thing.
That is an odd connection, yeah.
Like the twins, like they left Hogwarts, but 100% I knew that we were going to be interacting with the twins as much as we possibly could,
Yeah, they're Weasleys. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Where'd Lee Jordan go? I don't know. I don't know what's up with Lee Jordan, but
bigger and better things.
Hopefully. So it's weird that he's gone now. I look forward to finding out what happened, but he's done. He's done with school.
Yeah, he is. It. 7 years.
Yeah,
that's all it takes.
It's just, I guess it's weird that we've got to the point in the story where they're in their 6th year, and the people that were a couple years ahead of them when we started this whole thing are now gone.
Yeah. Like we've slowly been losing him. Like I mentioned, I think we just mentioned last week. Like Oliver Wood. He's been gone for a few years now, but yeah, you I guess you just didn't have that connection to him, so
yeah,
it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. So miss you already, Lee Jordan. I really do. But he'll be back in our Muggle pool in a little bit here, so stay tuned for that, folks. The big news of this whole chapter, though, and the reason the chapter is named what it was,
yes,
is the big reveal. The old switcheroo, Matt.
She almost had you.
And see,
so close.
So close. Swore I was crazy for thinking that.
No, you weren't. You were dead on.
Hats off to you for letting me just dwell in my craziness for a while.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Sluggy, as he's now known, Professor Slugworth? No, Slughorn.
Slughorn.
See?
Harry Potter.
Okay.
Yes.
Different franchise. Both featuring Johnny Depp, though.
As of now, yes.
In a weird way. Oh. Is going to be the professor of potions class at Hogwarts. Meaning what should have happened long ago, or maybe should never happen ever, depending on who you ask. Professor Snape is now the defense against the dark arts teacher.
Indeed.
Wow. That's a big thing.
I'd ask if you saw that one coming, but you kind of did. So.
I did in multiple ways. I did 2 different occasions. I did.
Like you were on board. It's like this is going to happen, and then it's like, oh,
yeah.
Okay, Slughorn's got the job. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you're back on the next week. It's like, wait a minute.
Hold on. He never said what he was going to be professor.
Yeah.
I like
nice
it.
Catch.
Good job, JK. Sneaky. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we all have the same reservations that Harry does with this whole thing. Like, Snape wasn't trusted with this job before. Why in the world is he trusted now? In the most difficult of times for the wizarding world.
Well, I mean, it almost makes you wonder, like, if Dumbledore's really reached that point where he cannot find anyone else to teach it. He really can't find anyone else. And so we just have, like, well, okay, fine. If I give it to him, I'm going to have to fill his position. So let's go get the old potions teacher to come back out of retirement. And
right.
Yeah.
So I'm nervous. I want to say I'm cautiously optimistic, but I don't even think I'm that. I'm nervous about this whole thing. I don't like it. It doesn't feel right. It feels, when you put it in that context, like I had been thinking of it as Dumbledore reached the point where he had to go with the best person that he knew for the job of this job, specifically because of the dark arts kind of reemerging into prominence and being a big deal now.
Okay, you're saying because of timing. I was going to say, if you're looking for the best person for the job, I mean, that easily could have been Snape years ago.
Yeah, timing-wise, yeah.
Yeah, but because of the current events, sure.
Right. So that's kind of where I was leaning towards, but I hadn't thought of it as in nobody else would take the job. And he was kind of
like we said, it's been
effort.
Cursed for years now.
Yeah,
and the kids bring that up. It's like, is this going to be the end of Snape? Is he going to break the curse? What's going to happen here?
I don't know. But
it would be interesting if it was actually cursed, and Snape found a way to break that curse.
Right. I don't know. I just don't like it, Matt. I don't like it at all. I think I still don't trust Snape at all, especially with what we learned about him at the beginning of the book. Like that still happened. We can't forget that happened. I may have been sleeping through most of those chapters, but I do recall
they were there.
Yeah, him talking with a certain couple of sisters about their Death Eater roots. So I don't know. Doesn't feel good. Just
all right.
Leaves a bad taste in my mouth, Matt. It's one of those things where I would have been okay not being right about it. Like, totally. Like,
yeah.
Drop the bomb. Oh, Lupin's back. Cool. That's the best case scenario,
Mm-hmm.
Or Moody finally gets to teach the class.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because we had another mention of Moody teaching the class previously, and I was just like, he didn't actually teach the class. He wasn't at Hogwarts. I mean, he was at Hogwarts. But
yeah,
he wasn't...
he was there in the chest, but yeah.
I mean, he spent 0 days teaching. So,
yep.
Just, I constantly have to flip that in my brain of Moody and fake Moody.
Yep.
It's crazy to me. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes this year. That class is going to be interesting. Potions class is going to be interesting. Thankfully, we get both of them in the next chapter. So that's pretty much it for chapter 8, Matt.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
We found out the trio's not taking Hagrid's class anymore. That kind of bummed me out, but
I kind of figured it would.
Yeah. And then, like, early on with the next chapter, how they were talking about how, they only liked the class because they liked Hagrid. Like, no one would actually want to continue that class. And I'm like, hold on. Wait a second now. Somebody out there would want to keep that class going, I think.
Well, maybe if it had been with it.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? You there? Matt?
I'm here. Can you not hear me?
Nope, I couldn't.
You can hear me now?
Yep.
Okay.
That was weird.
Yeah. I didn't notice anything.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you seemed to be there the whole time until I got hello.
Sorry, folks. Weird internet things happen in the middle of the day, apparently. Anyway, I don't know what you said, but
yeah,
sure.
I was just saying, like, you think about how many times they get injured in that class.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, would you really want to go back to that? But
yes,
if it yeah, Josh, you can keep taking that class.
I'm a special case. Yeah. Okay, chapter 9. Oh wait, no! Stop!
Thank you.
We need to do the Muggle poll, folks.
There you go.
The Muggle poll we put up on our Twitter account at Tales from GH, usually around 4 p.m. Pacific time.
It helps when they're not traveling.
Yeah, if certain someone isn't traveling and trying to figure out time zones and how those work, sometimes it's like 15 minutes late. No big deal. But regardless, it's a little poll that we put up. Matt does has something to do with the reading for the week. Lets you guys out there kind of chime in and let us know opinions on certain subjects. We like to have fun with it. Nothing too serious on these Muggle polls. So, Matt, what did you ask the people this week?
Well, you mentioned it earlier. Lee Jordan has graduated. He's not going to be at school anymore.
Yep.
So we need to know who's going to be the next Quidditch commentator. So I want to know, who would you want to hear? Briefly, I give your choices as Ginny, Luna, or Colin Creevy. Or if you have someone else in mind, let me know.
Now I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's reason for these 3 choices that you selected.
Sure.
You're just picking random characters. I don't know that. But were they kind of just random? Like just some side characters that you thought of?
Yeah,
Or...
okay.
Okay.
I mean, side characters that you kind of know, so you can kind of maybe picture how they might commentate a match.
Sure. I don't like any of them.
That's why there's option number 4.
Yeah. Jenny, she's too good. She needs to be playing Quidditch, not commentating on it.
Okay.
Colin's a little too excitable, and not in a good Lee Jordan type of way.
Mm-hmm.
He's total fanboy, and it's too much. Too much Colin. Luna, there's 2 problems with Luna.
Yep.
She has no vocal range whatsoever. Right?
Yeah.
So the excitement level instantly drops off. And 2, I think she's far too blunt and serious and would just call it like she saw it. And
yeah,
as interesting as that
I understand
would be.
that. Yeah, but didn't Lee Jordan kind of do some of the same?
Yeah, but in a more entertaining fashion.
I mean, he was definitely better at his job.
Yeah,
but he kind of had some of the same characteristics, I think.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Lee Jordan might be a cross between Luna and Colin.
Maybe so.
Like the excitement paired with this is what's happening, and yeah, you might not like it, but this is what's going on.
But he would use that like to tell a story, you know, where like she would just be doing it because she's like, oh, you want me to just explain what's going on? Like she would be far too literal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas at least Lee Jordan saw the entertainment value of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have a hard time seeing her as this, which really concerns me that this might actually happen because of how much people voted for her on this one.
Ultimately, though, I'm with you. I kind of think that she's not right for the job. Like,
right, yeah.
You know, between, like you said, being kind of quieter and then just like I think she'd be sitting there, you know, behind a microphone with a copy of the Quibbler upside down, reading it, and it's like, and Gryffindor scored 10 points. Then look back down at her magazine. Like, it just wouldn't. I don't think it'd be there.
Yeah. So who would you want, Matt? Actually, first reveal the results of the poll.
Okay. Like you mentioned, we have a whopping 55% for Luna.
Yeah.
20% for Colin, 18% for Ginny, and 7% on other. Mm-hmm. Which gave us a few responses here. Let's see. Well, okay. Emily says Colin would only commentate on Harry. Yep. Luna would talk about everything except the game, and Ginny would be good because she's unbiased and she knows the game. So she probably would Ginny there.
I just want to see her play, though. Like,
yeah.
You know,
hey,
she's one of their best players.
Who knows? Anything can happen, right?
That's right.
There were a lot of openings on the team this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Marissa says, I think it'd be interesting to hear McGonagall because she loves the game, but I don't know if she could be unbiased.
Yeah.
As much as she loves Gryffindor, she was the one always scolding Lee to stay on topic and stay unbiased.
That's because she didn't have to do it herself.
Sure.
You know, like it's easy to armchair quarterback up until it's time for you to actually be quarterback, and then it's like, oh, yeah, this is a lot harder. You know, you have to shut it down. You know, I don't know if she'd be able to. She's pretty excitable when it comes to Quidditch.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then finally, we had Malik says, since I have to specify, how about Josh?
I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
I can nail it.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Easy.
We'll have to try it out sometime.
Yeah.
Quidditch match without sound and see how it goes.
I just complained about the point system the whole time. Who would you say, Matt?
Honestly, I think I'd have to go with Ginny. I'd have no problem with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the reasons that Emily mentioned earlier, like she could be unbiased and she definitely knows the game. So
right.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun to hear.
I feel like there's only one right answer here.
What's that?
It's time to bring back Ludo Bagman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, why not? What's he up to? I mean, he has a debt to pay. Might as well make him, work it off. Help him out here.
Sure.
He's in deep with the who? Trolls? No. Oh,
Goblins.
Goblins. There we go. Sorry.
The ones who care about money.
Yeah. It's been a while, Matt. It's been a while. Yeah, I think you'd do fine.
All right.
Now, if it has to be a student, though, like that's where gets into dangerous.
Well,
territory.
we had a vote for McGonagall, so come on.
That's true. Yeah, we can have adults.
Someone in the wizarding world. There you
go. Who else is out there? Yeah, I don't know. I think Ludo. Ludo's the right answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ludo
or
is.
we bring back Victor and have him try to pronounce all the names.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. He knows the sport, What's he doing?
He knows the sport, that's for sure, but speaking, not his strong suit.
Yeah. It'd be like Tony Romo in the announcer's booth,
Oh, I love Tony Romo.
Do you really?
Yes.
Oh, I can't. I'm sorry.
Are you serious?
I don't he talks over Jim Nance all the time.
Tony's so much better than anybody.
He's too much of a know-it-all.
Mm.
I understand, he just retired and he's
he
excited.
Literally knows it all.
I know, but we don't need to be reminded of that every second. There's a fine line between they don't know enough and they know too much.
Mm. I
just needs to
greatly
tone it down.
appreciate Tony. Yeah.
Yeah, different strokes. Thank you for everybody that responded to that and had fun with it, and thank you to everyone that had a little bit of patience with it being just a tad bit late. Thank you for the reminders, though.
Yeah.
And, Matt saw him. Matt was like, yep, I got this. And we had talked about it the night before with, the Muggle poll and everything like that. So, I knew it was still on your radar, so I wasn't even sweating it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just knew travel was difficult, and sometimes, you just don't have the access that you would want or need to do that sort of thing. So, let's move on, Matt, to Chapter 9.
All right, Chapter 9, The Half-Blood Prince.
Just getting right into it, are we?
Sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fairly early in the book to have the book title as the chapter. It usually happens at some point.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Chapter 9. Chapter 9.
I did not expect us to have our second chapter back at Hogwarts already be this.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasantly surprised, though, I will say.
Yeah.
Also, not surprised that we actually didn't get any information about it. It's just one giant tease. And
kind of
sets up what we're going to be thinking about and what the mystery is that the gang is going to be trying to solve this book.
Yes, here's a little bit of information about the Half-Blood Prince and why you should care.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the first crime that happens at the beginning of the Scooby-Doo episode that they're going to be trying to solve the rest of the show.
Sure.
Yeah.
A few new characters that were mentioned.
I know
Libacious,
one.
Yes?
Yeah, go ahead.
Libacious Borage?
Nope.
Or Borage? Sure. Hector Dagworth Granger?
Okay, so I couldn't remember how much of possible Hermione lineage or heritage we had known or heard about.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was, old people that aren't around anymore. I could never remember for the life of me.
Sure. And Abraxas Malfoy.
Okay. I have a question.
Yes.
Who the heck is Terry Boot?
Terry Boot?
Pretty sure Terry Boot has never been in the story before.
I'm pretty sure he has. Terry Boot, I believe, is a Ravenclaw, which would probably explain why you wrote him off.
Okay, fair enough.
But if you give me a couple seconds to double check.
Was Terry Boot in the DA?
First appearance in Sorcerer's Stone.
What?
Also appeared in Chamber of Secrets and Order of Phoenix.
Baloney.
Nope.
What was Terry Boot doing in all those?
that most of the time they're just mentions, when Ravenclaw was around. He's one of the more, I guess, kind of prominent Ravenclaws that we get. I mean, once again, we don't get a lot of conversation with him necessarily, but yeah.
I do not remember that name at all. I'm sorry. That's not true. I believe you. I just refuse to admit that there was a Ravenclaw before book 4. So
I understand.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into it, I guess.
All right.
We got a word of the week in this chapter.
Yeah.
DOS.
You picked up on that one too.
Yeah. How was it used exactly? Do you have the line pulled up?
So, like I told you before the show, like I took my notes on the road this week.
Right. Okay.
Like normally I have my notebook and I take physical notes and then I put them in the computer for later. Mm-hmm. But this week I did everything on the road, and so I wasn't making physical notes. I was just typing them up right away, and so I don't usually, put questions like I didn't have access to my dictionary at the time.
Okay.
And so I just made a note of DOS.
Right.
And I'm like, I'll look this up later. And I remembered to look it up later.
Yeah.
But then I went back and I didn't make any note of where it was in the book. And so I was trying, when I went back, I'm like, okay, I looked up the meaning, but now I can't find it in the book again.
Okay, well, I remember. I wanted the exact wording if you had it, but
yeah, I do have it now.
Okay, it was when Ron was talking about this upcoming school year because they had a bunch of free periods because they weren't able to take as many classes as Hermione. Shocking.
Yeah. So he says. Hermione says, we're going to need that time for studying. It says, yeah, but not today. Today's going to be a real DOS, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no clue what that meant. I mean...
Me neither. I mean, from context, you can kind of pick up maybe what he's going after, but...
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you look it up?
Yeah. Basically, like, asleep. It was going to be sleepy. It was going to be kind of boring. Not a word that we use in our language over here in the States.
Yeah. Everywhere I've looked it up, it says either, like, British slang or chiefly British. Like, it is definitely a British term.
Okay.
So, I'm not, once again, not surprised that we didn't know it.
Sure. My question is, how commonly used of a British slang is it?
Yeah, that I can't answer for you, but I could see this one being used more often.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like...
Is it up there with, like, Fortnite, or is it, like, on the scale of words that we don't know over the course of the show?
From Fortnite to Fug.
Yeah. Where's... Oh, that's a great scale, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, let us know, you beautiful international listeners out there. How often do you use the word DOS?
Like, basically, as far as meaning, though, like you said, today's going to be real DOS, I reckon. Like, this is you coming onto this podcast and saying these chapters were a snooze fest.
Yeah, it was a bore.
Yep.
Yeah. Real DOS, though. Yeah, I don't like the word.
like I don't see me trying to throw it into conversation.
No,
like it's still a little awkward, but I can see that one being used a little more.
Sure.
I bet you it leans a little more towards Fortnite. That's my prediction.
Okay. Well, we'll find out because you guys will let us know. So I had a question.
Yeah.
They are only allowed to take a certain amount of classes at this point in their careers, 6th and 7th years, based on how they did with their owls, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they have far less classes, potentially, unless you're Hermione Granger of sorts, than they would have been taking years 1 through 5.
Sure.
Do they have, like, electives? Like, we talked about, like, how they have, like, all these free periods now, but are there elective classes that they could do just for funsies that don't necessarily go towards their newts? Or is that, like, the only thing they're focused on right now is preparing for those?
Like they said, they're going to need that time for studying.
Yeah.
Like, that the number of classes diminishes, but the amount of coursework and time needed to actually learn it increases dramatically.
But what if you only had, like, you only got acceptable grades, OWL grades, in, like, 1 or 2 classes? So, like, in your 6th year, you're only taking 1 or 2 classes, and you have free periods the rest of the time? Like, that feels like they could be doing something else.
Well, okay. I
the
believe,
twins, per se.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
I believe they each only got 3 owls.
Right.
So, what did we see them doing?
Starting a business.
Uh-huh.
I just worry about idle hands, Matt.
Yeah, like they found stuff to keep them busy.
Sure.
And
but not everybody is ambitious as them.
Yeah, I can't say what everybody does, but like I'm sure they find things to do. I like the problem with having electives is you're going to need teachers to teach them yet, and I don't think they really have that to spare.
Yeah. I just don't like the fact that they're whittled down to only a few classes potentially,
Yeah.
Based on how they did.
I mean, not everybody is gonna, take that professional track.
Yeah.
It's like real life.
Then I don't know. It just seems like graduation is always like the end goal when you're in school. And while we don't really know much about graduation at Hogwarts, like it feels like completing the 7th year and getting your newts or whatever, like it is what propels you into your future career in the Wizarding world.
Mm-hmm.
And while we saw the twins bail early because they didn't care, it just seems weird that, like, not great students, Crabbe and Goyle per se, would just be kind of lost in the shuffle and not have much to do at the school because they weren't as good as other students. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It almost feels like the 6th and 7th year at Hogwarts is the equivalent of like going to a university. Like you get to your 5th year at Hogwarts, like you're done with high school. You're done.
Yeah.
You made the basic journey, and now if you want to go further and push towards a future career in something, you need to go one step beyond and take those additional classes. But if you're not doing that, like, what's the point of being at Hogwarts still?
Yeah.
That's how I'm picturing it in my head,
Yeah, I know what you're getting at.
Like,
sure.
age-wise, it doesn't match up, but that's how the school is kind of structured.
Like,
yeah.
Honestly, I don't know what to tell you at this point.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I like.
Just
it's not something I guess we think about too much because the people that we are following, like they did pass most of their classes. They are continuing on into the newts. They do have that future at the school.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. More fanfic, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see. First we go to Defense Against Dark Arts class.
Mm-hmm.
Where Snape really snaped up the room.
Yeah. My note was I wanted to see. Okay, you mentioned reality shows.
Yeah. I
would love to see a reality show featuring Snape as an interior decorator.
It would be pretty boring.
He obviously took some time to redecorate this room.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm sure he used his magic and did it in a split second or whatever, but like he put some thought into it. He knew things needed to change. And so it's like it's not like the house elves came up here and did this for him.
Right.
It's like it's like you said, it's very Snape.
Yeah.
And
there is intent behind it.
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen the room kind of change each year with each different teacher. Mm-hmm. So it's not surprising that Snape would add his own flair to it, but Snape, just Snape, you know, just Snape. So we're gonna practice something really cool here, which is something I hadn't ever really thought about. Yeah. Which I'm sure a lot of people hadn't until it's like brought up in this chapter.
It's why it's brought up.
Yeah, spellcasting without actually saying anything.
Yep, nonverbal spells.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that I've always wondered. You know, I've always been fascinated by it. Like, you don't have to have a wand, but it definitely helps you control your magic with having a wand.
Kind of channels it, yeah.
It doesn't have to be your wand. It could be other people's wand.
Yep.
But, like, one thing that we've always associated with spells is saying the spell out loud.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, yelling it is more effective than whispering. You know, like, there are different levels and, like, having good thoughts behind it. And, like, there's all these different aspects of making this work. So now to kind of break down all preconceived notions of how spells should work and saying, you could do it without saying a word. Mind-blowing.
Yeah. So a couple things here.
Yeah.
Like, you said it's you may not have really thought about it until it's brought up in this chapter.
Uh-huh.
Very true. Mm-hmm. Going back and rereading, I think about it all the time because there are a number of times where we see wizards just like, you know, point and the light comes out of their wand. Like they don't yell anything. So like I'm pretty sure we've seen this before in action, but it's never really, you know, brought to our attention like it is now.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the case. I probably internally chalked it up to not every word that's muttered at Hogwarts has to be written for us to read.
Sure.
You know, like one could assume spells could happen. JK doesn't necessarily have to write in the sentence of so-and-so said this and then it happened. But now it's like, no, like potentially like this is happening all the time.
Yeah. And then secondly, this is kind of foreshadowed just in the last chapter.
Was it?
Yeah. So Harry's laying there on the train, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's petrified, so he can't move.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the red light.
Then he remembered that some wizards like Dumbledore could perform spells without speaking, so he tried to summon his wand, which had fallen out of his hand, by saying the words Accio wand over and over in his head, but nothing happened.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, good time to learn, Harry.
And then Tonks revived him with, you know, all he saw was a flash of red light, like he didn't hear her actually say anything.
No, she had a spell there.
Did she?
Yeah.
I know she did when she fixed his nose.
Oh, Oh, yeah. Okay.
When she unpetrified him, though, it was just the flash of red light.
Yep.
Right?
I was thinking of the wrong situation. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. She had the spell quick nose.
Okay. Making me wonder if I even read that. Yeah. So okay. So this is a fun thing. Like, this adds a whole layer to spells.
Things just got a whole lot more advanced.
Yeah. Makes sense though, because as it's described by Hermione in textbook fashion, sometimes you don't want to tell your adversary what spell you're casting.
Yeah.
It makes it harder for them to defend. Yeah.
Coming out of your mouth, you're pretty sure you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So it makes sense that this thing exists.
Or even that they just open their mouth as opposed to just, whipping your wand at you. Like, that can come out of nowhere.
Yeah. Which also makes battles going forward pretty tricky. Now, can you do... here's the thing. The curse that shall not be named. The death curse. The death spell.
Yeah. Avada Kedavra.
There we go. Can you do that without saying it?
That's a good question.
Huh. Can you do a Patronus without saying?
It's a good question.
Oh, God, there's so many possibilities now, Matt. Oh, no, there's so many things that can happen. I'm so nervous. Oh, I'm sure those spells probably are harder to do silence, I would imagine.
Just as some spells are harder to do while saying them, I would imagine that they're harder to do when not verbalizing them, yes.
But, Tom always says it or that we've seen, we imagine.
That one, yeah.
I think he just does it to show off.
We've always heard him say it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Patronus,
I
mean, once again, like you said, it could just be JK not writing every word. But I think when Tonks sends off her Patronus,
that's true.
Last chapter, I don't think we heard Expecto Patronum.
Right.
She just kind of waved her wand, and Harry knew what it was.
Yeah.
From what happened, so he described it to us. But yeah.
Interesting. Spellcasting is going to be very interesting going forward.
Still got somewhere to go.
Yep.
Not done.
So that was the main. Harry got detention. Cool. Shocking. Wow.
Yeah. Talking back to Snape.
Another year, another detention for Harry Potter. It's just cyclical at this point. First day, though, I think that... No, he got it first day with Umbridge, too, didn't he? He's really good at his first day suspensions or detentions.
Well, yeah, I guess the worst teachers, though, too. So
Also true.
On the first day.
I love the description of Snape being an overgrown bat.
So good, isn't it?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. And I will forever think of him and bats one the same. So there's that. One thing I made note of in my note, which our friend Katie on Twitter pointed out or followed up on, which is cool that we're doing the show later because we're able to get this added bonus content into it. But I had made note that it was kind of weird to have Dumbledore sending letters to Harry. It felt weird, because we've gone so long with just the rare Dumbledore appearance and how nice it was when Harry finally met up with Dumbledore in some capacity and they had a discussion, and now Dumbledore's just sending him letters now, and it's super weird. It's a weird feeling, right?
Yeah.
To me it is. And Katie had pointed out that there's a fan theory, I guess, going around or whatever that has been going around, a think piece, if you will, about Harry had pointed out that, he really enjoyed getting letters from Sirius, and now that's not going to happen anymore at the end of the last book. Rein it in. No crying. And, like, Dumbledore possibly picked up on that and, like, has decided that he wants to continue that for Harry's sake, you know?
Sure.
It's a nice thing to think about. Like, it is a nice thing to think about. I like that. Like,
yeah.
As sad as that really is, that's also Dumbledore's continued efforts to make up for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, and many years before then, really.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. It'll take some getting used to. Still, I'm not used to it yet, but more Dumbledore, the better, right?
Yeah, definitely. We like that guy.
Yeah. So let's go potion class, shall we?
We can do that.
Potion class that we weren't thinking that we were going to be spending much time in, because both Harry and Ron didn't get the required owls.
It's true. Yeah, they weren't planning on taking it this year.
Yeah, they didn't even buy stuff for the class.
Yep.
Completely unprepared. But with Snape not teaching it anymore and good old Sluggy teaching it, they're able to take the class, which is nice because it would have been weird to have a new professor that they made a big deal about and then not have the main character whose story we're actually following actually be in his class.
But, I mean, originally we were led to believe that it was Defense Against Dark Arts, so it's...
Also true.
Yeah.
But then that would have been weird that we never saw Snape in class because we have to have that dynamic, so...
Yes.
In a roundabout way, we finally got to, like, what should have happened all along, but here we are.
Yeah.
Potions class was Sluggy. Only 12 kids.
Yep.
4 Slytherin.
Mm-hmm.
4 Ravenclaw.
Mm-hmm.
3 Gryffindor.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 good old Hufflepuff.
Just 1 Hufflepuff.
Good old Ernie McMillan.
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuffs don't have time for potions, Matt. It's just not in our DNA to care about potions much, you know?
Yeah?
Yeah. I have no idea.
I was going to say, are you trying to tell me that you don't care about potions that much?
I am more interested in potions after this chapter than I have been in the previous 5 years of Hogwarts.
Okay, good, because I think this is a fantastic potions class.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen the Truth Serum before. We've seen the Polyjuice Potion before. Like, we've seen some potions in use. Yeah,
kind of a callback to everything we've learned about so far, and then moving forward.
Yeah. I guess I've just never cared much about... Maybe it's because Snape was teaching it, and he never made me care about his class.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, but suddenly I'm all about potions. This is cool.
Yeah.
I don't remember in what this was in reference to, but I want to point it out because somebody might remember, or you might remember.
Yeah.
But Truckle Tart was mentioned.
Oh, I think it's like Treacle Tart.
Okay. I don't know what that is, but it made me pay attention to it.
Yeah. So it all I can tell you for sure is it's like a dessert.
Okay.
And I mean, once again, it's going to be British.
Yeah.
As most of the foods are.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. It is prepared using short crust pastry with a thick filling made of golden syrup, also known as light treacle, breadcrumbs, and lemon juice or zest.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's tasty little pastry.
I wonder if Jacob knows how to make those.
I would imagine he does. I would hope he does.
I don't know if it's a British thing. Maybe not.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, it takes place in America, Matt.
I know.
You keep forgetting.
Yep. You see, in my mind, it's in the Wizarding world.
Right. It's all.
And that's all together.
Is it? Okay. Weird side tangent that I just now thought of.
Yeah.
How far can one apparate to and from?
It's a good question.
Like, the farther you apparate, is it more intense on your physical being?
That's a good question.
Because I'm just now thinking, Newt Scamander came over and went back on a ship. Like, he's a wizard. There are other means of transportation that he could have been using, and he just boarded a ship like it was no big deal.
Yeah.
I just now thought about that, like how weird that is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So it's okay. Like I said, I know I've referenced it a few times back in the day when I was having the argument with Atari Alex about how it was pronounced and stuff, apparition versus apparition.
Right.
So every time I referenced things, it usually came out of this book. So I guess what I'm saying is we're not done talking about apparating.
Okay. Oh.
So you'll at least get a better idea of what's going on.
Right.
And if we get to the end and you still have questions, we can talk more. But yeah.
Okie dokie. I'm just going to be thinking about that forever.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's worth thinking about. Because, yeah, you're not the only one that has these questions.
Good. I feel less crazy then. Which is important these days, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. Let's see. There's another mention of a love potion. This is now the second time in this book that
That's true.
We've had this. So, what's that about, Matt?
It's I don't know. That's for me to know and you to find out, I guess. It's the theme of this podcast.
I'll figure it out. We'll get there.
All right.
I'm noticing. You know, it's just
we greatly appreciate you noticing these things. Yeah. Like we've been saying, and once again, I believe it'll come up in some emails this week, but there are hints all over the place, and they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
So, glad you're picking up on them.
Oh, I am.
Wait your theories.
I am dialed in here, Matt. Slughorn is now intrigued and excited by having Hermione Granger in his class.
Yeah. He's seeing that talent pop out.
Yeah. He's like, whoa, hold on. We got a smart one in this class.
Or at least, the knowledge pop out. I guess he hasn't really seen her do much yet.
Right. And then it was also when when he was talking about, he knew somebody that he thought might be related to her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no, I'm Muggle-born. And like that instantly registered as when Harry told him about the best kid that they had in their class being Muggle-born.
Yep.
He was like, oh, I'm putting two and two together now.
Yep.
Gotcha. This is rad.
I know who you are.
Yeah. So it's funny to see him get excited about that thing.
Yeah. And like the best part is like it wasn't like, oh, I'm Muggle-born. Like that didn't turn him off at all.
Right.
He's just like, oh.
I think that made him more interested.
Exactly. That much more intrigued. It's like, if the best in your class is, that you weren't kidding, Harry, were you?
Yeah. So we'll see. Will she be officially invited into the Slug Club? We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's see. We talked about who Terry Boot was. I had important questions, Okay. Slughorn has an idea. First, he tells him about this amazing potion, right?
Yeah.
Felix something.
Go for it.
Nope, I can't remember what it is. I didn't put it in my notes. Felix?
I always, another one of those, I always read it. I never try to pronounce it. It's probably like Felix Felicis.
Felicis. Okay.
Something. It feels like it comes from a highly Latin-based thing. Yeah.
It's a weird name for a potion.
Yep.
Makes me wonder if it's named after someone.
Maybe.
I'm sure we'll find out. But it's basically like a good luck potion.
Yep.
Extremely good luck potion. It has dire consequences if you take too much. Could be pretty awful if not done right. But if taken the right dose, if used correctly, it basically could give you... I like how he phrased it as it could turn an ordinary day into an extraordinary day.
Yes.
I think that's the best way to look at it.
Absolutely, yeah. Once again, just little things like that I think give you a hint at his teaching style.
Right.
Like, he makes things very understandable.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I also like how it was like immediately introduced, because my head immediately went there, as I'm sure a lot of people's did, where he said it can't be used in any sort of like athletic competition or elections or, you know, like, I'm like, oh, okay. Because like immediately, like the kids, I feel like started asking, you know, like, well, could you like use it? Like,
yeah, especially if they had never heard of it before. Like Hermione obviously seemed to know what it was.
Yeah.
That it existed and stuff. But yeah, if this is the first time you're ever hearing about this potion, it's like, yeah, your mind just starts running wild. It's like, ooh.
And why isn't everybody using this all the time? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my head immediately went there also. So I'm glad that it was shut down like now without having to wonder.
JK knew what she was doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you introduce something that powerful, you have to set up the guidelines for it immediately.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like, you didn't say it couldn't do that before.
Right.
You're just making that up.
Yeah. Like, where's that been the rest of the 5 years? Like, Harry could have used this a long time ago. Or anybody could have, you know? It still makes me wonder, like, if we've seen it in use before without us knowing that it was in use before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't put it past JK at all to retcon something inside of her own story for the sake of just messing with us a little bit or explaining something differently. So I'm waiting for that shoe to drop. Maybe in a bad way, maybe in a good way. I don't know. But I feel like there's a potential that we've seen this in play before and we just didn't know it. And the kids didn't know it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it sounds like this is the first time most of them are finding out about it. So
yeah,
they wouldn't know it. And it's not like there's a specific effect. Like, it doesn't make you glow.
Right.
And say, hey, I've taken this potion and I'm lucky today.
Yeah. Have like these gold glitter twinkles around you as you walked everywhere. Like, oh, he's on that Felix today. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But he set up a little challenge, a little Iron Chef challenge in the potions dungeon. Whoever makes the best version of this potion.
Draft of Living Death.
Oh, it was a different potion, right? Was it a different potion? No, this one. What? I'm confused.
He had them make the Draft of Living Death.
Right. Okay. And he realized that it wasn't going to be to completion, but it was just going to, you know, they had like an hour to do it. Mm-hmm. It was the first time any of them had ever tried to make something like this before.
Yeah. But so, it's like the steps are in your book. Just follow the steps and see who can make it.
But he wasn't expecting perfection. It was just, let's see who could come the closest to being good.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, not only I think is this a good, you know, way to get the kids interested in the class, but I think it's also a nice way for him to gauge where everybody's at.
Yeah.
I mean, they're coming into their 6th year, but this is his first year teaching these students.
Right.
Like, sure, maybe Snape could have told him, like, give him his notes on the students, but it's going to say, Potter's a troublemaker, like, which Slughorn
Hermione's a know-it-all. Ron is, pretty bad. Yeah.
So I mean, it's I think a great way for not only them to get into the class, but for Slughorn to get to know his class.
And like adding this competition, the winner getting this little vial of the Felix potion.
Yep.
The Felix potion. A little motivation to do the best that they possibly could right off the bat.
Yeah. They all wanted that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still talking about like 16-year-old kids here.
Right. But like far too often we've seen them be given a task and they just fail over and over and over again, because there isn't, at the end of the year they want to be doing the best that they can, but right off the bat, like it's always a slow burn up until they learn something. So this one is just like, okay, we need your best effort on day one.
Yeah,
on this.
The motivation's there.
Yeah, 16-year-old kids, like you said, like that stuff works. Everybody's struggling. Except one.
Yep.
That one would be our dear friend, Mr. Harry Potter. He borrowed a book because, again, he didn't have his own. Neither did Ron. They both borrowed books and scales and cauldrons and ingredients and everything. But Harry's book had writing in the margin and writing over the other text and writing all over the place. It was basically its own book rewritten. It felt like.
It's like someone took this textbook and edited it.
Yeah.
And, they never got back to the editor. But anyway. Made their own edits to this book. Yeah, definitely.
And, Harry had that struggle right off the bat of, do I go with what the text says or do I go with these notes of this mysterious bookkeeper from the past?
Especially when it wasn't just notes in the margins, like you said, it was changing the text of the book. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, like just notes in the margins is one thing. You can kind of ignore it. It might be just like notes about what happened when they were making it. Fine. Yeah. You wanted to remember something. But when you start changing things, like changing numbers of things that are in the text, like what do you listen to?
Mm-hmm. I feel like you made the right decision. And I feel like I would have done the same thing,
Yeah.
What do you got to lose? It's day one, and if it all goes awry, you could say, well, it was probably going to anyway because I'm not really good at potions. So, like, the risk reward here, I mean, sure, he could have made something awful and evil and bad, I guess. But it just seemed like there wasn't too much risk and the potential for a lot of reward, which is what happened.
Yeah.
He won the contest. He made the best potion.
He did.
Congrats to Harry. He now has a little vial of the Felix potion that he could use. I'm sure all the emails are going to say, Josh, what's he going to use his lucky day on? How's he going to use it? What's going to happen? I don't know yet. We have a long ways to go. This is day one back at Hogwarts here, folks. There's a lot to cover. So, we also found out that his mom was really good at potions. I don't think we knew that before.
Yeah, not so much.
I mean, it's not know much about her.
Not something Snape is gonna let him know. It's, hey, your mom was so much better at this.
Sure.
Like, no, it's yeah. But Slughorn, on the other hand, who, like I said, it was we already know was very fond of Lily, so it makes sense that he's gonna throw that compliment. And I mean, he's fond of Harry too, as far as we know. So
right. So at the end of the chapter, Harry's talking to his friends about what happened, and of course Hermione's a little upset because She's Hermione.
She lost.
Yeah. And like Ron pointed out, like he didn't do anything to cheat. He was just using instructions that were in his book, And then, Ginny was kind of freaking out about Harry listening to writing in a mysterious book. Understandably so. Nice callback.
Like, I understand her concern, but I've always thought, like, the book wasn't actively writing at him.
Right.
Like, it was, honest to goodness, just notes in a book.
Yeah. A textbook.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like a mysterious book locked in an old safe, in a treasure chest underneath buried underneath Hogwarts in a dungeon. It was just a textbook pulled off the shelf.
Yeah. Like if you read one of the lines and then went back and read it again and it had rearranged itself to say something else, like then I'd question whether or not to follow it.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And they checked it out and they determined that just a normal textbook.
Yeah.
But at the very end of the chapter, it was revealed that the textbook at one point belonged to the Half-Blood Prince. Dun dun dun!
You got it.
Who's the Half-Blood Prince?
Who's good question.
Why is the Half-Blood Prince?
It's been the question since before this book, so
yeah, that's true.
Ever since we got the title.
So the name of the chapter was kind of a tease.
Yeah.
But you know what? I liked these chapters. Like I said before, I think the pacing was phenomenal. I think we got a lot in. It was nice to be back at Hogwarts. We're back at school. We're doing new and exciting things. There's mysteries and deception and possible good guy, bad guys, and all kinds of things. I don't know. These two chapters, right back in. I'm all in again, folks. Calm down. Everybody's all worried that I'm going to hate every single chapter going forward, so.
A little bit.
Yeah. All it took was just getting back to Hogwarts. Weird how that works, right? I always get excited when we get back to Hogwarts.
I kind of figured that might be. I think that always plays a part in it.
Yeah.
Like you always want to get back there. It's the most magical place.
Yeah. And it did. It we had ghosts and we had giants and we had potions and like it just felt magical.
Sure.
Finally. So let's do some emails.
All right, we can do that.
See how many people yell at me.
First email this week comes from Edgar.
Hi, Edgar.
It says, Dear Josh and Professor, so Josh seemed to be right. I think I have said this in one of my previous emails, but have you checked yourself to see if you have a great-grandmother called Cassandra? Remember, the gift jumps to 2 generations.
I'm pretty sure I don't, but yeah.
You should double-check that.
I might need to.
Yeah. Maybe even like her middle name was Cassandra or something. Who knows?
That'd be freaky though, right?
It would be freaky.
Yeah.
Questions for this week. Do you think Ron will keep his position as keeper on the Quidditch team?
Yes.
All right. What will Harry do with his liquid luck? As you predicted.
I don't know yet. Okay. He's a dumb 16-year-old kid, and he has dumb friends, and with the exception of Hermione, who's not going to approve of anything that he's going to do with it. So he'll probably end up wasting it or doing something that he definitely shouldn't be doing with it, which might be the reason why we already set up like it shouldn't be used in competitive play or elections or anything of that nature, or for exams or anything like that. So there's a good chance that he doesn't necessarily follow the rules with it.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you think Hermione will join the Slug Club?
Now that I think about it, is that really her thing? I think she'll be invited.
Okay.
Yeah.
But but not sure if she'll accept.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Based on her being weirded out by that whole thing.
Yeah. What do you think the last thing that Hermione smelled in the love potion was?
What does Victor smell like?
I'm not sure what Victor smells like.
I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Vodka.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know.
And, of course, the obvious one, but I have to mention it. Who is the Half-Blood Prince?
I am not sure.
I'm sure we'll have time to get to that one, I think.
Yep.
All right. Next email then from Ovander.
Hi, Ovander.
Says, hello, Matt and Josh. Looks like Josh was correct on his Snape as professor of the Defense Against Dark Arts theory. Do you think Harry's comment about him not lasting through the year will come true?
As teacher, yes.
Okay.
I think, look, we're not going to get rid of Snape, as sad as that may be. And was it Ron or Harry that said, like, he's probably not going to die, but I don't know.
Yeah. One of them mentioned it. Like, he just wouldn't be in that post next year.
Yeah, so I think he will be at Hogwarts in some capacity, but I definitely do not think he will be teaching that class next year.
Sure.
It's why break the cycle now? We're 6 years in. Don't mess it up, JK.
Fair enough. Says, I'm very interested in seeing how Harry does in Snape's version of the class, as well as in Potions with Slughorn in this mysterious old textbook. Finally, I'd like to offer a potential open-ended poll question for this week, which obviously I didn't use. I would have loved to use it, but I've tried the open-ended thing before, and it doesn't work so well.
Sure.
So, if you don't decide to use it, I'm still interested in what our two hosts would answer.
Okay.
One of the potions Slughorn showcases a powerful love potion that has a unique variety of smells for each person. What are the 3 smells that you would likely find hints of if you were to smell this potion?
Ooh.
Yeah, I've even had some time to think about this one, and I still have a hard time coming up with answers.
Vanilla.
Okay.
The smell of the ocean. That ocean breeze,
Sure.
salt in the air type,
You live on the coast, I understand.
Yeah. And it's a smell that I will always enjoy and have fond memories of.
Yeah.
And the third, boy, third's kind of tricky. Pine needles. Yeah.
You do have a lot of those up there in Washington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just reminds me of outdoors and, like, getting away from it all.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Fair enough. Yeah. Like, the best I could come up with, like, I want to say I could come up with something better, but the closest I could get,
cheddar cheese, Monterey Jack cheese,
and cows. No. So I do enjoy the, I guess the smell of unbaked cookie dough.
Okay.
So not like the actual like cookies cooking
Sure.
smell, but like cookie dough.
Okay.
I'm not sure. There's probably some ingredient in there that I'm picking up on more than anything else, but couldn't tell you what.
Okay.
I thought I had a second one, and I can't remember it now. Anyway, the last one I came up with was my grandma's house.
Okay.
Like, it's kind of that, probably kind of musty old people smell, but
Sure.
there's the good memories tied to it.
Right. If you were to smell that smell, no matter where you were, you would immediately remember that house.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Cool. Good question.
Yeah. Leander says, as for me, I would perhaps find hints of freshly baled hay, cinnamon, and I have to question this one, but WD-40.
Not weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that not weird?
There is, depending on like how you're raised or whatever, like there are certain smells that you associate with certain people, right?
Okay.
Val has told me this many times, but the smell of like a shop, like metalworking,
okay, yeah,
anything like that, like she immediately associates like with her dad.
Yeah, my grandpa's garage.
Yeah. There's like
he's a small engines guy,
right?
So his garage always had that distinct smell.
Yeah, which it's not like I would wear this as like a cologne type of smell, but
sure.
You think of somebody that means something to you,
Yeah,
and it's not a bad smell. It's not like a skunk or anything like that. Like it's a unique smell. It's not like a pretty smell, but it's a very distinctive smell that you could pick out from something else that takes you back to somebody or something,
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
Freshly cut wood, like that's another, like going through Home Depot and you're like in the lumber section.
There you go.
You're like
campfires. That's a good smell.
There we go. Yeah. So like WD-40 like sounds weird until you start thinking about like that smell and like, could you associate that smell with somebody? And, you could do that with anything. So yeah, I totally get it.
Sure. All right.
Campfire is just a good one.
Yeah, it is.
That might be above my pine needles one actually. Now
What,
that I think
like
about it.
anytime I come home from a campfire,
yep.
Like Becca just likes to sit there and smell my shirt.
Yeah.
Like she loves that smell.
Right.
Yeah. Leander sent a quick follow up and says, just thinking about the question, perhaps instead of using it as a poll question, it might come as a good giveaway question.
It just might.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. I don't know if you had something else in mind already. So
guess we'll see at the end of the show when we announce next week's giveaway.
Uh-huh. Next email comes in from Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
It says, hello, Josh and Matt. It's only been a little over a month since I've written, but it feels like ages.
It does. It really does.
Yeah. Oh, the title of her email, by the way, is I Promised I'd Be Back.
Yeah.
She says, I arrived safely in the Gambia, and I'm finishing up language and technical training for my post as a health community volunteer. I'd show off my Pular skills, but I know how much Matt dislikes reading aloud in different languages, so I'll spare him.
Oh, that's the best part.
No. I couldn't even told you Pular was language.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. African, I guess. When I finally got enough Wi-Fi bandwidth to download a couple of episodes, I was so happy I couldn't shut up about it. And my coworkers are not about it, though. I think I'm the biggest Potter nerd of my cohort. I even dressed up as the ultimate Harry Potter fangirl for Halloween. I was enjoying the episodes only to find Josh was unhappy with me for leaving America. Well, I can't say I miss it too much. 2 words. Cheeto Man. Besides my family, friends, and food, I would do just about anything right now for a large chicken Caesar salad and a nice cold butterbeer. Mm-hmm. Besides missing people, though, it's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to be settled down after training and begin work. Plus, while you guys don't have much of me, I have all of your old episodes to relish and not rush through them. In fact, I'm entertaining myself by recording all the accurate Josh predictions. Mostly those he's made outright, but a couple that were too on the nose not to include, even though they were more offhand remarks than literal predictions. Which, Caitlin, I greatly appreciate the work you're doing. That's probably going to come in handy someday.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what she's talking about with the offhand remarks.
Okay.
We have talked about them many times in the room requirement.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Some things you say on this show are just ridiculous, Josh.
Oh, that's
you have
true.
No idea.
That's also true. I say things without thinking about them and not thinking about them afterwards.
Yeah. And she has one brief example here, too. She says, I'm only at the beginning of the third book, so it's not very long, but I wanted to mention that one I loved hearing back in Chamber of Secrets. Josh very casually mentioned that he thinks Hermione would make time for all the extra classes she wanted to take that third year, which is exactly what the time turner allows her to do. Mm. He doesn't get full credit, but maybe deserves an A.
Take it.
Once I have a more set schedule, I'll be able to access the internet cafe more often, so I'll be able to catch up before too long. Can't wait to dive into the best book of the series.
Awesome. Thanks for checking in. Missed you.
Definitely. Next email, I think from a new writer, from Cademan.
Hi, Cademan.
I guess. I've heard a lot of Caden, but this seems to be Cademan.
Okay.
Caedmon.
Okay. If that's wrong, tell Matt that he's wrong.
Try to break it down phonetically for me, as much as a 12-year-old can do.
Yeah.
It says, I'm a 12-year-old listener from Georgia who is proud to represent the Ravenclaw colors along with Matt and many other listeners. Though my schedule is as hectic as any other kid with schoolwork and soccer practice, I still find time to listen to your podcast and have finally caught up. I can't thank y'all enough for doing this podcast so we can get lost in the world of Harry Potter along with you guys. I definitely like Josh's Muggle Theories episodes, my favorite being your ludicrous Crookshanks episode.
Is it, though? Is it?
Cue Josh's incessant defense of his theory.
See? Look, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I haven't been proven wrong yet.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Says I can't find any appropriate ending to my email, so I'll just thank y'all again and let you get to reading the rest of the emails.
Thank you. Thanks for right now.
Yeah. Sure, we'll be hearing more from him later on.
Let's hope so.
Our next email comes from Deborah.
Hi, Deborah.
Says, Dear Matt and Josh, I was hoping that friend George's joke shop would cheer Josh up and get him excited about Harry Potter again. So, hooray for Pygmy Puffs. Yay. It was so great to get an upbeat Tales from Godric's Hollow episode after a month of Downer Muggle.
It's not my fault the books are written like that. Don't blame me, guys. Don't blame me.
But you were the downer. What else are they going to blame?
The writer?
We didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, because you know why all that stuff's important and should be cared about. I don't have that luxury yet, Matt.
Well, I guarantee you we'll have differing opinions on that later, too.
Okay.
And I'd like to thank Matt for his many contributions to the discussion about those chapters last week, too. My favorite episodes are the ones in which we get a lot of Matt's input and insights, as well as Josh's reactions. For this week's reading, the first chapter is titled Snape Victorious, and we in the Tales from Godric's Hollow group might perhaps think of it as Josh Victorious.
Yes.
Kudos to Josh for cleverly predicting that Snape would get the Defense Against Dark Arts position, and for noticing that although Harry assumed Slughorn would be the DAD professor, that no one ever explicitly stated this. And kudos to Matt as well for not giving the game away. I don't know how you maintain that poker voice when Josh comes up with his uncannily accurate predictions. I will admit last week when you started going you started talking about it and I'm like, no, don't change your prediction. Don't do it. Don't do it. No. And I just honestly sat there shaking my head for a little while. We're 1 week away. 1 week. That's all I needed. It was one more week, and we had you. But no, you had to go and change your mind again.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
See, Deborah says, I've seen this film more often than I've read the book, and I love it when I read something that I've forgotten that was changed in the movie. Of course, I can't say what that is yet, but in the Half-Blood Prince chapter, I could imagine all too well Josh's reaction to hearing that the trio has no interest in the care of magical creatures, and didn't expect that any other student in their year would be either. Josh, how loud were you when Val read that?
I wasn't loud. I was somber and sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing to be angry about.
Fair enough.
Yeah. We'll still hang out with Hagrid, We don't need to be in his class to have Hagrid. The kids will go see him.
It's true. They were hanging out with him plenty before he became a teacher.
Yeah. So I'm not too worried about it.
Well done, Neville, for doing so well on his defense against Dark Arts Owl, despite having Dumbledore as teacher last year. Being in Dumbledore's army really made a difference. I love how McGonagall boosts his confidence over this and his charms results. I'm sure he's been crushed to learn that, although he's not taking potions, he'll still have to deal with Snape this year.
That's true. Mm-hmm. I mean, we all have to deal with Snape in our own ways, so there's that.
Like you said, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Harry is so insolent to Snape in his first defense against Dark Arts class. Despite the provocation, it's understandable that he's earned attention. I think we can all agree to that. Mm-hmm. I love the potions class scene. Slughorn makes it is so interesting by introducing a competition. And we see that he does appreciate cleverness, even with Muggle-born witches. And thanks to the Half-Blood Prince notes in Harry's text, Harry wins the Liquid Luck Potion, which will give him a perfect day. This not only foils Malfoy's goals, but gives readers something to look forward to. When Ginny chides Harry for taking instructions from a random book, he gets a... I'm... Sorry, off my place again. This is one of those emails that goes all the way across the screen, and if I don't follow along closely, I lose it.
Yeah. It's okay.
Says I'm looking forward to next week's reading. Are you excited about Harry's first lesson with Dumbledore?
Definitely.
Do you have any idea what they're going to study?
Oh boy. No, I mean, no, I don't. I have no idea. It's gonna be a fun time with Dumbledore no matter what.
All right.
Divination, occlumency, who knows?
Thanks again for all you do, and thanks to all the other listeners who shared their Harry Potter experiences and responses.
Ooh, maybe he's gonna teach him how to raise a phoenix. That'd be cool.
Do you really have to do that much to raise them?
I don't know.
I think they seem pretty self-sufficient.
I don't know. We don't see it.
Yeah. All right. Next email comes in from Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
It says, Dear man, Josh. Sorry I didn't write in last week. The week got ahead of me. I will sort of make up things for this week, though.
Okay.
It's a little bit longer.
All right.
First, Josh, you asked again about the first chapters of the book, and I will answer again. Yes. In the moment, as I was reading for the first time, and every time since, I emphatically love the first 4 chapters of Half-Blood Prince, and firmly and objectively believe that they are the best opening chapters of all 7 books, and contain the two best chapters overall in the whole series, chapters 1 and 2. Why, you ask? Again, because they are so different than any other, particularly the outstanding first 2. The different perspectives offered by those chapters, a bemused Muggle Prime Minister and 3 slimy Slytherins make the chapters, and the whole books and the book series as a whole. It makes the book series about more than just one boy and his circle of friends. More than just a coming-of-age story in an enchanting setting. They're about a fully imagined world and society, one just on the other side of our own normal everyday world. Those chapters are so unique, clever, funny, and witty, and most importantly, suspense-building. I was brimming with questions after the first 4 chapters, and I just knew J.K. was up to something. I was more drawn into this book immediately than I was any other, thanks to these chapters. I guess this is why so many of us passionately defend those chapters and have been looking forward to them for so long. I'm not sure why you don't see them this way, but I've chastised you enough for this week.
I mean, I know she's up to something. I know they're foreshadowing something. I am more than aware of this. I honestly still believe that it has a lot to do with I only had those chapters, and that's it. I wasn't able to just keep reading and getting into the story that I knew and loved. It just seemed so foreign and distant from where we've been with the story 90% of the time. It just didn't fit what I was used to. Also, I was still recovering from Sirius's death. I don't think anybody gives me enough credit for that. You guys had like years in between Sirius's death and that.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Not many years, but I mean, still.
You probably had a year, yeah.
Enough time to get over it.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm forced to just deal with it and like be somewhere completely different than I want to be. I don't. Combination of everything. And look, I understand, and I am totally okay with everybody loving those chapters. They just did nothing for me. And I hope by the time we circle back around and those chapters mean something in the story, that I will be able to say, well done, JK. Well done. But until then, I just have to take them at face value.
Okay.
So. I'm done defending.
Second, a topic Josh will be happier to hear about. Suppose we should be titling this episode Josh Victorious. I'm surprised how many people have come up with this, by the way.
Yeah.
Bravo to Josh for almost figuring it out in last week's episode about the Slughorn as Potions Master and Snape as Victorious Defense Against the Dark Arts Teacher. Also, bravo to Matt for holding strong and coy as ever in the face of such pressure from Josh. It was an uncomfortable 2 minutes or so as Josh was coming to the realization that we didn't know what Slughorn taught. I was squirming as I listened. Matt, sometimes I don't know how you do it.
Again, Matt has a mute button and we're not on video, so...
It definitely helps, yes. I'm sure we will hear Josh gloat on endlessly about his predictions in the first Muggle theory for this book. It's fairly well deserved this week. Nah. I am curious though. Did you guess what Snape was victorious about as soon as you heard Val read the chapter title?
No.
Okay.
No. I was just more concerned by the actual wording of the chapter title.
It's true. It threw you off for a bit. So that almost sent Matt and Owl suggesting that he ask Val not to tell him the chapter title until after the chapter was done. Some of JK's chapter titles are way too spoilerish for my taste. A rare criticism from me.
Okay, so funny story with this. You know how mostly she doesn't show me the pictures or she fails to show me the pictures or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
So when we started this and she said Snape Victorious, and I said, what? That's the name of the chapter? And she's like, yeah, that's the name. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. She's like, see? It's right here. And she held up the chapter, or the book, showing the title, and it showed a picture of Snape holding his wand, I think it was, or something like that. Like in a victorious pose or something. But I was still so focused on those two words of, like, how that made sense in any form or fashion. It meant nothing to me.
Actually... No, the picture isn't even of Snape.
Oh, see, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how much I was paying attention. Who's the picture of?
Yeah. I didn't pay close attention to that one.
Is it Harry?
No. It's actually, I believe it's Tonks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no, nothing was spoiled.
All right.
I appreciate you guys' concern.
But Josh, now you have to start to admit this book is pretty darn good. Look how J.K. spooled you up about this, and everyone else for that matter. Now just a quick few points from Chapter 9. This is another of my favorite chapters in the entire series and contributes to why I love this book so much. It's simply brimming with magic. I relish the description of the potion making. the ways to cut various ingredients, the way the cauldrons boil and bubble, and everything I imagine learning at Hogwarts to be, just perfectly described and written by J.K. I did want to mention that I have never, obviously before this chapter, thought of how many characteristics a potion has,
right?
Or can have,
right?
Like they were saying, like everything from color to smell to how it's bubbling to the one, what was it, like characteristic spiral smoke coming up from it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't even thought of that. Like whatever the potion is giving off, like that can change depending on how you're making it.
Right. Right.
Because I mean, I guess I won't think about it because it's not really gonna change in the Muggle world when I'm making something on the stove.
That's true. Yeah, everything kind of looks the same.
Yeah, the steam is just gonna rise. It's not gonna rise in different shapes.
Right.
So, yeah. Let's see here. It's also nice to see Professor Slughorn actually teaching. He actually seems to be a fairly good teacher here, enthusiastic about the subject and engaging with the students, and something we rarely got to see, at least through Harry's perspective. And the Snape victorious, his words drip with creepiness about the dark arts. And yet, as a Gryffindor, I hate to admit it, he does have a way of talking about his subjects. I noticed this even way back in Philosopher's Stone, talking about bewitching the mind and brewing fame and bottling glory.
I don't remember that, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was like when that might be the first day in Potions.
Okay.
That's the way he described it.
I believe you. I
think, yeah, bewitching the mind, I think it might even said ensnaring the senses, brewing fame, bottling glory, yeah. He has some very almost flowery language, I guess.
Yeah.
That he uses to describe all this stuff. It was distinctly enticing, and in a way we didn't really want to see too many other classes. As much as I loathe Snape as a person, I have to think he might just be the best teacher in the school. Think of all the people who got E's on their owls that could indicate that he somehow got his students to learn, despite his awfulness. Finally, in a personal but somewhat podcast-related news, I will be heading to the Wizarding World in Orlando this coming weekend after Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Living not too far from Florida in South Carolina, I'm fortunate to have an annual pass. And since my brother lives about an hour from the park on the east coast of Florida, it's super easy for me to pop over there and fully ensconce myself in the Wizarding World when I visit him. This is the first year that Universal is decking out the Wizarding World for Christmas. And it's just getting started this week. I can't wait to see it. It looks like it will be a life-size Dickensian Christmas village. Since Christmas is so very important in the books, it's just perfect for them to do this. And this is the time of year that they bring back hot butterbeer. That's the way it should always be served. I will be thinking of you guys and our Tales from Godric's Hollow community while I'm there, and may even put the podcast on while I'm there just because. I'll also send some non-spoilerish photos.
I want all the pictures of the dragon on top of that bank. I'm not even joking.
I understand.
If I don't find out about that stupid dragon sometime soon, Matt, I'm going to lose my mind.
He says, wishing all of you a great Thanksgiving, even to, or rather especially to, our international listeners as they make this podcast so rich. Pip, pip.
I was going to put pip, pip in my notes. That's notes, a very UK thing, right?
It very much, I believe so.
Like that's probably above Fortnite.
That's one of those. Like I don't. I think that's more than anything stereotypical British. Like I don't know if they actually do it or not.
Yeah. Okay.
To be honest, I was just hanging out with a bunch of Brits this weekend.
And I mean,
I didn't hear any of those words at all. Now, do they remove them from their language when they're visiting America and think that, oh, they won't understand it if I use these words?
Sure.
Or I don't know.
Okay.
It's hard to say, but there are at least half a dozen of them that flew over for the convention I was at, and yeah, okay. I got a lot of accents.
No pip hips, huh?
No.
All right, fair enough.
Anyway, thank you, Jeff. Next email comes in from, so we're going to try to get this name a little closer. Voter.
Do
you remember this one?
Oh, you thought it was pronounced with a W?
Yeah, something. I don't remember exactly what I said last week, but he helps us out a little bit.
Awesome.
Says, first of all, happy birthday to Josh.
Hey, thank you.
People remember.
Yeah.
Hope you have a great day from all of us here in Potterverse. We have heard that your birthday is on the 23rd, so happy birthday week.
I'm enjoying every day of it so far.
Yeah. Says, just a note on my name. Voter is a German name, and it's pronounced similar to Voter in English.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going with.
Perfect.
I'm originally from South Africa and have been living and working in China for about 5 years.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, he's all over the place.
Yeah.
Let's give you guys some things to think about. Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. Who was Percival Graves? He's the guy that Grindelwald posed as. Mm-hmm. So who or what was the original Percival Graves? He was shown as an exceptionally powerful wizard, and no one seemed to question it. So who do you think he was?
Okay, I've thought about this. I've actually put thought into this.
I kind of figured because it's Fantastic Beasts, you can think about it.
Oh, yeah. I can think all about it, Matt. But the problem is I can't look into anything because eventual tie-ins, whatever.
I understand.
It could be one of two things.
Okay.
It could have actually been a wizard. Okay, so we saw Barty Crouch Jr. pretending to be Moody.
Moody, yep.
Who was an actual wizard, and everybody knew Moody, et cetera, et cetera. So it could be one of those situations, right?
Yeah.
In which case, obviously, I would have no idea who the person was before. Somebody that was powerful and influential,
But yeah, so you're saying it was a real wizard that people knew, and he just was impersonating.
Right. That's scenario one. Scenario two is he just created, basically what Tonks does with, her appearance, and made himself look like somebody else, and just went through the system cleanly and efficiently and effectively, and worked his way up through some good old hard work and efforts, and a lot of backroom politics and all that kind of stuff, and legitimately got to his place in position, just doing it under the false pretenses of him being somebody else, looking like somebody and having an alias of sorts.
So yeah, basically he was playing two people all along.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could go either way, and in this world,
they're both legitimate.
Yes. It's like a 50-50 shot. So I don't know. I don't know.
All right. I like it.
My question is that name, did that name mean anything to Harry Potter fans when it was introduced? They were like, oh, okay, yeah, we know who that is from previous mentions of something.
Well, that's why we want to get your reaction right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you'll find out by the end of the series what we knew. But
yeah. Here's the thing, and this is something I've dabbled with, but it's been a persistent thought of mine for a while.
Okay.
What was the person who created the Sorcerer's Stone?
Nicholas Flamel.
I feel like that's going to come back into this series at some point.
Okay.
That Nicholas Flamel, the name, the character, the person, the legacy, that will be reintroduced in a big way.
Sure.
I don't know how. and I don't know why, and I don't know what the purpose will be, but it
makes sense. Yeah, it's something that has been mentioned as a historical event in this universe.
Right.
That, since we're going back in time in these movies, why not look into it again?
So, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Like, this is going to be one of those things where we look back and be like, okay, Josh sounded crazy for a second, but then he actually said something that was remotely true, and we have to give him some credit for that, even though he clearly had no idea what he was actually saying.
Sure.
That could be one of those moments there.
Do you think the MACUSA interacts with the White House like the Ministry of Magic works with the Prime Minister?
Not a chance.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Yeah.
So this week we have a new Defense Against Dark Arts professor, the infamous Professor Snape. Do you think the supposed curse will take hold and that says that position is jinxed and he'll be gone by the end of the year? I think you've answered that already.
Yep.
Personally, this is one of my favorite books and films, and that is for reasons I cannot yet say. Oh, people, just egging them on. Anyway, thanks for writing in.
I don't even listen when you guys say that kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah. I try to breeze by it for you.
Yeah.
I know you don't need to comment on it every time. So.
Nope.
Next email from the other Katie.
Hi, other Katie.
Says aloha, Matt and Josh. Matt, I've also forgotten how old I am, so don't worry about that. For about 3 weeks after my last birthday, I thought I was 27. Until one day I was telling my friend how I couldn't believe I was already 27. She turned to me and said, Katie, no, you're only 26. Yeah, we all do it.
The best of us.
Yep. I have a few thoughts about last week's episode. Josh, why do you consider Crumb to be dark and scary? I've never really had that impression of him.
Durmstrang. The school seemed dark and brooding. Like, I've explained this before. It was made mention that school specialized in teaching dark arts. Not defense against the dark arts, but dark arts itself.
Mm-hmm.
They're up north, like they came on a battleship, basically, a pirate ship.
Their headmaster was the Death Eater.
Yeah, like, I haven't seen a lot of flowery, colorful, happy things to come from that locale.
Yeah.
Like, it's a mystery, like, we don't even know where it is.
Compared to Beauxbatons, I think they're purposely written that way, but they're almost felt like polar opposites.
Yeah.
And so when you start comparing them, I mean, I think that's part of the reason why in the movie they only showed us boys from Durmstrang and only showed us girls from Beauxbatons. They wanted to show a big difference there, even though it definitely wasn't written that way in the book.
And then we have Hogwarts, which is just kind of right in the middle. Like, they're the neutral grounds. You know,
Yep.
They're Switzerland of the UN.
Yeah, and Dumbledore's bringing them all together.
Yeah. So I guess I have no reason not to ever consider them dark and brooding, and, you know, they probably sleep in caves, and I don't know, they dress like they were on Game of Thrones.
I never would have gotten that far. They live in caves. They're not giants. Come on.
I know. Trust me, I know. Yeah, that's why.
All right. I'll admit that the Slughorn chapter on the train isn't the most entertaining, but I do think that every chapter in these books is important. Even if I don't love a chapter, that's something I try to keep in mind.
Yeah. I have never once denied that they are important chapters.
Yeah. It says I'm still tracking all of Josh's fan fiction mentions, and the list just keeps getting longer and longer.
Boy.
Now on to this week's chapters. Chapter 8. I hate the title of this chapter.
See?
I've never liked Snape, and I'm not sure I ever will. He continues to be terrible to everyone around him. Tonks saves Harry, but I'm still worried about why she seems distant and sad. Does it just have to do with Sirius' death, or is there something more at play? You have any thoughts on that?
I don't know. There might be more to her. We don't know her backstory. We don't know, her.
It's true. She just kind of popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah, we don't know much about her. We don't know what she does in her off time, her social life. Like, she's just one giant mystery at this point.
Sure.
There's a good chance it has something to do more than just Sirius's death, but we'll see. Does she have parents? Were her parents killed by somebody? Like maybe Bellatrix killed her parents or something like that? And, there's all kinds of weird things that could happen in this world.
It's true.
So, sorry. Continue.
It's all good. Congratulations to you, Josh. You were right about Slughorn not being the Defense Against Dark Arts professor and Snape taking over that class instead. So my question is to you. Do you think Snape will actually leave the school at the end of the year like Harry hopes, or will he just go back to teaching potions after this year?
He will go back to something.
Okay. Second question. Why did Dumbledore want Slughorn to come back and teach potions?
It's a good question. I haven't put that much thought into that part of it.
All right. Something to think about, I guess.
I mean, if he couldn't get anybody to do the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher job except for Snape, then he had to give Snape that job, which means he had to have somebody do potions. And I don't know how many people are out there qualified to teach potions, but he definitely knew of Slughorn's capability with that position. So,
yeah,
domino effect.
Chapter 9. I had a lot of thoughts about this chapter, mostly about the classes that everyone's going to be taking. Is Hagrid going to be hurt that the trio and probably everyone else won't be in his class?
He'll be sad. He'll be sad, Hagrid.
All right. What exactly does ancient ruins entail? How useful is it in the real world?
I feel like it has something to do with our good friend old Tom.
Yeah?
Yeah. That makes sense.
All right.
He seems like he'd be into that sort of thing.
You never know what he was into.
It's true. Death and destruction, that's what.
All right. Here's one that kind of goes along with what you were going on in the show. Can a student repeat their fifth-year coursework and try for an owl in a subject again as a sixth year?
I don't know. Can they?
I don't know. But that would give them something to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Who knows?
There's a lot to Hogwarts that we'll never know.
Yeah. Snape is a terrible person and way too into the dark arts for my liking. But he is also super knowledgeable about them. So maybe he's a decent teacher?
I'm not saying he's going to be a bad teacher. I'm just saying I don't trust him.
All right. My favorite line in perhaps the entire series. There's no need to call me sir, Professor. Oh, sassy Harry is the best, and he's all over this book. Potions classes are about to get a lot more interesting with Slughorn, Harry's new book, and Malfoy trying to suck up to Slughorn. I wonder what else Hermione smells in the... I hate saying the love potion. Mm-hmm. Just call it the love potion.
Yep.
Did you catch how Val pronounces that?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm going with love potion. It's all good.
Yep, that's in my head. That's all it is. So.
Yep. Says, yeah, I've always wondered what I smell in that potion. Never really been able to pin it down. Well, we tried. And finally, I love that Ginny is always trying to look out for Harry. What are friends for if not to check that your new books aren't going to try and possess you?
Yeah. It's very thoughtful of them.
Yep. Let's see. Next email from Martha.
Hi, Martha.
Says, hola, muchachos.
Sorry.
Yes.
Batman versus Superman reference.
Actually, still haven't seen that one.
Oh, okay. Turns out both Batman and Superman's mom's names were Martha.
Huh.
Yeah. It creates confusion and anger in
yeah.
Batman.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sorry. That name is just, it's transformed for me.
Hope you guys are doing great. I've been waiting patiently to send in these images I found online a couple of years ago. I think I saw them when I was looking for an image of Pig, and I believe they're now spoiler free. Keep up the great work. I'm still enjoying this podcast to the max. So I have a couple of pictures here that, I'm sure you will enjoy.
Okay.
She says, P.S. Val is awesome.
Yes, she is.
Yes, I think we can all agree to that.
Pig hasn't been in the movie at all yet, has he?
No.
I didn't think so.
No. Yeah. I remember that was one of the things you were looking forward to, and thankfully there were enough other things to distract you. It's like, you won't notice that he's missing. I mean, he doesn't get a lot of time in the books even, really.
I know. But they always have a cat around. Probably because the cat's more important in the long term.
Maybe.
Oh, that's amazing! I love it. Look at that cat face. That's
That I love these pictures though.
That's a cat that's up to no good.
I've never seen them before, and honestly, I'm wondering if, Martha, did you just find these online, or do you know who did them, or I would love to know if you have any details on these.
Stupid little owl. It's so good.
But yeah, because we even got the pygmy puff in there too.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the second one with the owls, you see, I love Arrow.
Yeah.
The Weasley's old owl that's just all worn out. I'm done.
Good stuff.
Can't even pose for a picture. Yeah. Thank you very much, Martha.
Yes, absolutely.
Next email comes in from Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
So the first thing I have to say, Josh, you are an expert seer. Take Trelawney's place now. Would you like to teach at Hogwarts, Josh?
I feel like I get to just do some good there, Matt. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Definitely.
Keep an eye on Snape.
Somebody needs to. He's getting away with way too much now these days.
But before we get there, we didn't talk about how awful Snape is. Tonks is sad. Her Patronus has changed, too. What do you think her Patronus is now, Josh? You have any guesses there? I mean, I know we only got, 4 legs, but you have any thoughts?
4 legs automatically makes me think of a bigger animal, right? A lot of things have 4 legs.
But, an otter has 4 legs.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's hard, because there are so many different things that can have 4 legs.
Yeah, but I guess if that was the one the most defining feature that Harry picked up on, that it had 4 legs, right. I guess I'd have to go with you and say it's probably something bigger.
So I'm gonna say her new Patronus is a donkey.
Okay. Any reasoning behind that, or?
No, I'm just trying to fit it to her mood, and a horse or a stag or something like that, like galloping or something like that doesn't fit what she's going for. So a donkey's just kind of slow and mundane and just whatever, Eeyore, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if that's where you're going, but that's exactly what I was picturing. Just kind of bumbling along.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But my question is, what was her Patronus before?
Mm-hmm.
That's the exciting part. And who knows?
What Happy Tonks' Patronus was.
As we've seen from the Pottermore Patronus quiz, there's 18 different cats that you could be.
Yeah.
So who knows?
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Snape is a defense against dark arts teacher. Will sell cards and potions. How did you do it? Literally, when you had given up all hope that we saw Slughorn, when we saw Slughorn, I was yelling at my radio, "You're right! You're right! Come on, come to Hogwarts, Muggle. Teach divination. No more care magical creatures, though." Josh must be feeling just like Tonks. One of my favorite McGonagall times is in this chapter when she sticks up for Neville by saying, "It's time that your grandmother learned to be proud of the grandson she's got rather than the one she thinks she ought to have," particularly after what happened at the Ministry.
Yeah. And then points out that, like, her grandma or his grandma couldn't pass the owl in charms, so...
Yeah.
I love that.
Exactly. It's just because she couldn't pass her owl, yeah. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, McGonagall was good in that. Like she had a rather small scene in these chapters as far as everything went, but yeah, very, very, very handled Neville's situation very well.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's not very forward with that kind of stuff, but she knows exactly when it's needed, and I appreciate that about her.
Yeah. Says the Half-Blood Prince, I won't ask you who you think he is, since you already answered it. But the Felix potion, best potion ever. I would totally make that. I wonder if they have any at Universal. What do you think Harry will use it for?
Hijinks and hilarity, I hope.
All right.
Although, I feel like that would be like book 1 or 2. I don't know how much, good things to come from this story, so that makes me worried.
All right.
Quidditch keeps popping in my head, though, when I think about it.
Yeah.
Like, they've made several references now to Quidditch. Like, they are trying to remind us that Quidditch is back at Hogwarts.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's been a while.
Yeah, I know. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll see that being used during a Quidditch match. And that won't go well.
All right. Next email coming in from Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
Says, Josh, I hope you're very excited on this podcast because you're right with one major prediction. But I do have a bone to pick with you. I miss hearing...
too. Or Texas.
No, I don't think she is, actually.
Okay, cool.
I miss hearing your insight as reading this series as an adult. Even if you don't enjoy a chapter, there are still breadcrumbs and interesting tidbits that I wish you would talk about. I like it when you start vocalizing your theories, even when you don't have much to go on, but the speculation is the most fun part. Matt, I miss hearing your take on readings as well. I know you don't want to give away future details, but I still enjoy listening about what you remember from your first read-through or how the chapters make you feel, etc. I need more of your connection to the podcast. I'll see what I can do.
Sure. I try to ask you that as much as I can.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
It is tough, though, because it's tough to put you in a position of, what did you think the first time you read this? When you've read them so many times, it all just gets blurry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Were you caught off guard by the Snape getting the teacher job the first time?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Okay.
I was with everybody else.
Yeah.
Just assume, because like you said, you went back and forth about it over the course of a few weeks.
Right.
Between the 4 to 6 chapters it took us to get from introducing Slughorn to getting to Hogwarts and finding out what he was actually teaching.
Right.
Whereas, we sat down and read that in an hour.
Yep. That all happened in one sitting.
Yeah. And so, I was totally expecting, this is the new teacher. New teacher means fill the empty spot, which is Defense Against Dark Arts.
Right. Also, Snape will never get that job.
Yeah. Yeah, totally wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Okay.
Now on to tonight's readings. I'm curious about what is happening to Tonks. Harry starts speculating, but then gets distracted by Snape, of course. His obsession with everything Snape and Malfoy gets a little much in these few chapters, but I can't stop thinking about Tonks. Does her being in Hogsmeade mean we'll see her and the other Order members more?
I hope
they're
so.
Going to be around a lot.
I mean, we have to go to Hogsmeade for that to happen, right?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, Tonks happened to be at Hogwarts right now. Well, no, she was at Hogsmeade Station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not going to be hanging around.
She walked him to Hogwarts.
Yeah, but they're not going to be just dropping in at Hogwarts on a regular basis. I don't think.
Probably not, unless they're like reporting to Dumbledore or something.
Yeah.
But...
So it'll take us going to Hogsmeade more often, which we might get more of those.
I mean, we usually, ever since the third year, we usually go at least once, right?
Yeah, and maybe we'll go more because we have characters to care about there.
Yeah.
Whereas in previous years, it was just, the
weekend trip.
Yeah, there was nothing exciting going on there, so why write about it?
Yeah.
So hopefully.
Although a lot of things have happened, like it's where Harry found out about Sirius.
Mm-hmm.
It's where they started the DA.
Yeah.
It's like things have happened there. Just
sure.
We didn't know they were going to happen there. I have so many questions bubbling inside my head from these chapters, and I hope Josh is thinking about them too. Like, is it cheating to use someone else's instructions in the potion challenge?
No.
What is Dumbledore going to teach Harry at 8 p.m. on Saturday?
That he shouldn't have skipped detention.
How mad is Snape going to be since Harry gets to skip detention, and what will that outcome be?
There's a good chance Dumbledore makes him stick to detention.
Like, I've always wondered if that was intentional. Like, did Dumbledore hear about the detention and then send the note?
Again, Matt, there's 3 things I know about Dumbledore. He has style, he's pretty good at magic, and he always happens to know everything.
So once again, I ask, did he do it purposely? Or did he say, well, I already had this planned, so...
There's a good chance that he knew about it.
Okay. Do you think Harry will be a good Quidditch captain?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
Unless he uses the illegal potion. Then
True.
Not so much.
Says he doesn't seem to have thought about planning for the team at all.
He could
Too much obsessing over Malfoy and Snape.
He could quickly turn into the Pete Rose of Quidditch.
Time will tell.
Yeah. Alex got that joke, so that's all that counts.
Yes. All right. Next email from one of our headmistresses, Marissa.
Hi, Marissa.
Says, hello there, gents. It looks like Josh loves his present. I'm so glad. Happy birthday, Muggle.
Aw, thank you, Marissa.
I'm going to go ahead and say that was from her.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Especially since I got the cheese head from her, so.
It's wonderful and
There you
beautiful and purple. Can you buy other colors there? Do you know?
I believe they come in pink and purple.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. And that's why I had to think last week when you asked, Arnold is definitely purple.
Okay.
But, yeah, they come in pink and purple at the shop, so
cool.
yeah. In my mind, I usually think he's pink, but I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I bet Josh was so proud to hear the title of the first chapter. Probably knew he had guessed it right. Or not.
You guys think I'm smarter than I am.
Yeah. they don't expect you to get distracted by grammatical issues. Anyway, she says, well done. Harry's strong suit doesn't seem to be math and time. It takes roughly 7 hours or so to get to Hogwarts from London. And he thinks it'll be 3.5 hours before Ron and Hermione know he's missing? She quotes, finally realized that, because that he thought he would be halfway back to London by the time they realized he was missing.
Right.
So, yeah, it's like, 3.5 hours would be a long time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're distracted by, day one at Hogwarts again, and there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, but, I mean, they go in, have the sorting feast, and eat. I mean, how long do you think that actually takes?
I don't know. I just, yes.
Like if Harry's not there by the end of the meal, you start wondering.
Yes.
So.
But at the same time, I could also not fault them for not realizing it after a few hours.
All right.
Just because of how crazy things get.
Because
quickly.
It's Harry.
Also
he's always
true.
Off doing other things,
it's
or
like,
teachers are pulling him aside.
Right.
Maybe he's with Dumbledore.
Maybe he's taking care of Grump. Like there's so many stupid things that he could be up to.
Yeah.
That they would have questions about, but they wouldn't panic about until.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Tonks is in Hogsmeade, but she still seems put out. I miss the Tonks we met last year. Mm-hmm. She was so much fun, and I loved her. But this is depressing.
Yeah, you guys didn't brace me for this dramatic downfall of Tonks' mood.
Hey, we all loved Tonks in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, Snape is the one to come and fetch Harry. Any chance he has to bully him. I wonder if Josh realized that Lee would be gone this year and unable to continue commentating on the matches. I'm guessing.
I did not until, it was mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, it took you forever to realize that Lee was in Fred and George's class in the first place.
Yeah, no, that's true. I always associated him with the trio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if you put him with Fred and George, well, they're gone. He's gone. So.
Yep.
I've watched questions about the progressive education and how the teachers are able to determine what letter grade a student needs in order to take the next level of the class. I feel like it should be set by the headmaster, or better yet, all be the same. Like anyone that gets an E in any subject can take the next level. I don't think that a teacher should be able to say only O grades get in, but maybe that's just because I hate Snape. I love McGee encouraging Neville, even while sticking to her guns about him not being able to continue with Transfiguration, telling him that his grandmother should be proud of him after what happened at the Ministry, and saying that she would write her to get giving her what for in regards to taking charms. So good. Harry seems to have lucked out with the book Slughorn gave him. I do think Ginny overreacted to Harry using the instructions written in it, though. It's very different from some unseen person replying to things written in a diary. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys and your families. If you allow me to get a bit sappy, I am so thankful for this podcast and the community it has created.
Oh, well, thank you. And we're thankful for the same.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tenfold.
This show would not be the same without you guys.
Yeah.
Not at all. All right.
Who else would make fun of me on a weekly basis?
Alex.
He'd
be here. He'd still be here. If he was the only one, he'd still be here.
Yeah.
All right. We got an owl from Alaska.
Well, hello, Alaska.
Which is actually from Emily.
Hi, Emily.
Says, Dear Matt and Josh, sorry for the long time no owl. A couple colds, a battle with some nasty dementors, and another surgery. I'm rebounding well and grateful for having you all there to look forward to. So thank you.
Thanks for coming back to us.
A few thoughts from the past podcast. Josh was saying my story at one point really struck home. For all of us, it feels so personal. JK said during an interview that a little girl said to her, I don't know why so many people are here at the book signing for my story. Horrible paraphrasing. But that's exactly how I felt when I was in London and saw the WB studio tour. There were so many people, and it felt like an invasion on my relationship with my story. I'm also not big on crowds, so that didn't help. But that's how it seemed, how we all seem to feel at times. The story is very personal for all of us. It was a great milestone to hear you claim it as yours. For the record, I listen at regular speed. The length doesn't matter to me. I've tried listening faster, but I end up missing things. Whatever works for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've always been curious about who was the real-world Muggle Prime Minister at the time of the chapter. The other minister. J.K. obviously didn't name him directly. I assume it would have been complicated with permissions and such. I would assume so too.
Yeah.
So I did a little research. Wow, pulling out a little Alex here.
Yeah, I like it.
Harry was born in July of 1980, so he went to school at age 11 in the fall of 1991, making the chapter occur in the summer of 1996. The Prime Minister at that time was John Major. I wonder if he realizes that he's indirectly in the Harry Potter books.
I feel like this fan base definitely
has let him know.
Has let him know at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it's so big now. Like, well, okay. Up until this year, you didn't know that the Muggle Prime Minister was mentioned in these books, but right. I don't know if John Major has kids.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, I'm guessing he found out at some point.
Could you imagine his kids reading it and being like, Dad? Can we talk?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dad, has a man ever appeared in the fireplace?
They just go to his office just constantly, just looking around.
Yeah. Now, thoughts on the Muggle theory. I've decided that, Josh, you come up with such theories because you have so much time to mull it over. A lot of those theories you seem to talk yourself into, like the relationship one. You bring up a subject, list all the potential possibilities, and then slowly whittle them away. This is totally fine, as that's how any good theory is made. It's just funny because you're able to do this for two reasons. One, you have the time, and two, you have the adult analytical brain to do so. Without either of those, it wouldn't be possible, so keep them coming. The two giveaways I really wanted to answer were the Halloween costume and the apparition one. If funds were not an object, I would be a crazily intricate hippogriff.
That'd be cool.
I don't think that's an answer we got in the actual answer. So, yeah. I mean, how cool would that be? Yeah, that would be, especially if you could find a way to make yourself fly.
Mm-hmm.
And I would apparate to and from work. Not only would this mean I would never have to go outside in the winter weather, remembering that she's in Alaska.
Yep.
But also the commute is gone. And when you have to work at 4 a.m., every extra minute counts.
I agree.
Yeah, that would be a good way to do it. I work from home now, so I don't have to worry about that. But that was always one of my things when I was working elsewhere. I don't think I ever worked at a job that was further than a 10-minute drive from my house.
Sure.
Like, I can't do the commute. Whereas my dad worked for 15 years where he had a 45-minute commute one way.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't do that.
Right.
Like, that's just way too far for me. But...
Yeah, there's plenty of people here in Vancouver that work in Portland. And while Portland's not that far away, when everybody is traveling across
it's
two
just a
bridges,
big traffic jam.
Yeah, like Val used to work in downtown Portland at the Art Institute, and she had 2 hours of commute each day. One there, one back.
Yeah,
and
that's not fun.
It's a 15-minute drive with no traffic.
Sure.
So,
at the right time of day, it's 15 minutes.
Yeah.
During rush hour, it's an hour.
Yep.
Awesome.
So sometimes it's not, how far away the job is, but just how difficult it is to get there.
Love the length of our podcast.
You're welcome, folks.
Oh, let's see. On to last week's podcast. About Hagrid being stared at out in public. Matt's mock call to the bobbies, a slang for British Muggle police, had me in stitches. But it is true. What would you do? Nada. As someone who is stared at a lot, I assume it's because of the dwarfism, but maybe I'm just that cool or good looking. The majority of people just stare and whisper. It's rare for people to walk up and actually ask questions. That takes a lot of guts. To me, it's fun to watch people go through the struggle of deciding whether to walk up and talk to me or not. It plays out all over their face, and it's very entertaining. My advice: be strong, Pluck up the courage and ask questions. Politely. The world is a unique place. Learn about it.
Yeah.
She says, I feel bad for Fleur. It seems that in the same way she attracts men, she drives away women. And that's so sad. It really brings out some not so nice qualities of some of my favorite characters. It's true. That's those chapters we had with Fleur, and I'm like, yeah, all the women in the house just kind of got real angry. And like, I've always kind of wondered if it's actually an effect that Fleur is having on them.
Right.
Or if it's just a side effect of the way the guys are acting around her.
Yeah. Or a combination of both.
Or that.
Yeah.
On to this week's readings. So first of all, I've misplaced my glasses. I tried reading without them, looking away from the page every sentence or two to make my eyes refocus. But when I'd only read a page before my eyes were crying from the strain, I realized it wasn't going to work. So I went to YouTube, trying to look for the audiobooks. It was a mess on there, and not being able to read a lot of the words didn't help. I gave up and moved to Google. And there somehow I found the most amazing site. It let me stream only the chapters I wanted and had the options of both Jim Dale and Stephen Fry. It seems that they have the whole book on there. She has a link here that I can put up in the show notes. It's audiobookforsoul.com.
Oh.
I never heard of it, but I can look into it. Like I said, I'll leave a link to it if you want to check it out. But,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, from just looking at this one page that she linked to, yeah, it looks like they just have the audiobook up there. You can click play and go at it. But awesome. I don't know. Sure. Anyway, Slughorn is so over the top, collecting people. The way he hid in the Muggle house and how he moves around, but has to be in a place of comfortable luxury. Even in the way he teaches class. It's a show, and he's the host. Don't get me wrong, those types of classes are fun to be in, but it just adds to his extra personality. Snape picking on Tonks made my blood boil. Can he not be kind to anyone, or at least not awful? I get he's playing a role as a spy for what seems like everyone. Maybe you have a Muggle theory on that. But really, if you have nothing nice to say, Snape, shut your mouth.
If only it was that simple, huh?
Yeah. Like you were saying, Josh, I think he gets pleasure out of those things, so even if he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Final two thoughts. My friend, sorry if I slaughter this, Hadassah, has started listening to the podcast.
Welcome.
So she wants to say hello to Hadassah.
Hello.
It has always bugged me. This is a random one. It has nothing to do with this week at all. But it has always bugged me that in the first movie, Hagrid's birthday cake has the words misspelled. I would agree with that as well.
I love it and think it's endearing.
In the book, they were spelled correctly. Throughout the books, we have had samples of Hagrid's writing, and he has no trouble with spelling. The movies seem to dumb him down, and that's upsetting, especially since the birthday cake is remade by fans all the time and has the exactly as it is in the movie. Is it so impossible for a giant to be intelligent in the movies? I mean, seriously, it's a magical world. Anything is possible.
Again, I just think it has to do with like him being expelled from school, you know? Like they're just playing that up more.
But you see, like, J.K. didn't write him like that.
I know.
Like she said, we have plenty of Hagrid's writing all over the place. Like, he's written letters to Harry all the time, and he doesn't screw things up like that.
Maybe he's just hurried.
No. I don't like it. Okay. I'm with you, Emily.
All right.
The cake was a mistake.
The cake was a lie, Matt.
That's a good reference. All right, next email from Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Says, hey, Josh and Matt. I'm currently in the car with my parents and 3 younger siblings after a full day in Waco, Texas, and realized that it was Monday. The past few weeks were busy, but I was determined to write in this week, both in defense of Josh's feelings for the first chapters of Half-Blood Prince, and congratulations for him being right about Snape teaching defense against dark arts.
Yes.
So, in the Muggle's defense, it was many rereads before I truly appreciated the first 2 chapters of this book. In fact, I used to skip them along with the first chapter of Goblet of Fire when I would reread. It took a while for me to truly enjoy these chapters because they do not have Harry in them. Despite my less than enthusiastic reaction to the first 2 chapters of Half-Blood Prince, however, I absolutely love this book. So hang in there, Josh.
Good to hear.
Yeah. So she might be the first one that's really come out and said that, yeah, I was surprised to hear that she used to skip them and going back through them.
Right.
Like, I mean, okay, I guess you know what happens, and yeah, you figure, oh, Harry's not in it. They're not as important or whatever. But
sure.
All right, I get you. But also, good job predicting Snape being the new defense against dark arts teacher. I must say, though, taking the reading this slow, it was much easier to pick up on the clues that Snape would be taking over the job than it would be if you just read straight through. In any case, good job, Josh.
Thank you.
Finally, I hope you are enjoying these great Ginny moments, Josh. She is amazing.
Yes, she is.
We're having fun with her.
Yep.
All right. Next email comes in from Brent.
Hello, Brent.
Dear Matt and Muggle.
I'm bracing for this.
He says, note, I'm writing this before seeing your notes for this week. Josh, I'm baffled why you haven't liked this book. I'm trying to help you earn your wizarding robes and shed the moniker of Muggle, but I'm not sure if you'll make it anymore. I thought Hannah nailed it in her email last week. Don't slough off in these early chapters. If there's anything we know about J.K. after 5 books, there's rarely anything she puts into the early chapters of a book that doesn't come back around later. And with no spoilers, I will tell you this. Half-Blood Prince is no different. She is definitely dropping clues all over the place, so pay attention. I missed this in Order of the Phoenix when we went through it, but since Alex brought it up last week, I'll revisit it. I've always hated that Fred and George dropped out of school so close to being finished. I can understand that graduating school doesn't have the same importance in the wizarding world that it does in ours, but I've always hated the message that it sends. And knowing J.K. as well as I do, I was surprised how this went down. One quick story before I sign off for this week. I can't remember if I told you, but I used to live in South Korea for about 3 years, which I don't think we've mentioned on the show. I talked with him about this in one of our Patreon hangouts.
Okay. Yeah.
So you might not have known this.
Right.
So yeah, he used to live in South Korea for about 3 years. I know that many in the community may not have a visual of me, so let me say that I'm 6'4", and my whole life people have called me Hoss. 10 points if you catch that reference.
Yep, I like where this is going.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right. All right. I've spent 3 years of my life constantly being stared at by people. The kids were my favorite. They would look at me and verbally say, "What? Ooh, hey, Galid." Then they'd run and grab their friends, bring them back to me, point, and say, "Hey, Galid." I didn't know what it meant until later in that year when Prisoner of Azkaban, the Prisoner of Azkaban movie came out, and I discovered they were literally calling me Hag-Rid.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's a bit uncomfortable to constantly be stared at, and a rarity to be so consumed with what you've got going on to even notice. But I definitely feel a kindred spirit in my man Hagrid, especially when he's in a foreign world. All right, that's all for now. Well, not quite all.
You sure? I think we should just move on. I'm sure Alex has the email.
I think this is when you press play.
Okay. Let's hear what this is.
Joshua Brown, how dare you! I am absolutely disgusted by your last episode. You haven't read the book that I sent you like 6 months ago? That thing is so short and easy to read. Just throw it on the back of your toilet and you'll knock it out in a few sittings, man. Fun and whimsical. That's how you describe the last couple of chapters, but the whole rest of this book so far has been boring. Come on, man. Are you even a Harry Potter fan? Oh, I got it. Maybe you're really a Death Eater like your wand says you are. Oh, and one more thing. Guess what? If you get stuck in Florida, you're still in Florida, the world's playground. We've got Disney World, Universal, Busch Gardens, SeaWorld, all the theme parks you can imagine. 3/4 of our border is covered by beaches. We've got sunlight and warmth all year long. Not like the doom and gloom of the Northwest where you Death Eaters live. Man, I'm not in my car shaking my fist. I'm sending you a howler, and it's entirely your fault. If you put one more toe out of line, mister, I don't know what I'm going to do, but it will be bad. Oh, and Matthew, dear, congratulations on living in Wisconsin. Have a nice winter trying not to freeze.
Wow.
Oh.
I just got yelled at.
Yes. Brent, I just have to say, thank you for that imitation. I don't know if you picked up on all the little nuances, Josh, but that was almost like piece for piece Mrs. Weasley's howler.
Oh, I did not know
from the movie.
Okay.
Well done, Brent.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. How you feeling, Josh?
I'm gonna take the higher road here and not respond. I'm not feeling like I'm in a fighty mood today, Matt. I'm just gonna take my lumps, and be thankful that I'm not stuck in Florida. So, thank you, Brent.
All right. Now we can move on to our next email from the other Alex.
The other Alex. Hello.
Who actually won our giveaway this week.
That's this week?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
She won the Spectre Specs.
Alexandra?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was like, I don't remember saying Alex at all during the beginning of the show.
Yeah. She's always signing emails as Alex.
So. Okay. No, that's fair. I just
I guess I never did connect that for you.
Thought that I totally was missing something. So okay. Oh, same page. We're good.
All right.
Sorry.
All right.
I'm a little shaken up. I just got a howler, Matt. I'm a little shaken up.
I understand.
Okay.
All right. Dear Josh and Matt, Snape is actually the Defense Against Dark Arts professor. Josh Victorious. Once again. It makes me wonder if they talk behind my back even. Did you plan this while I was in Pennsylvania? I don't know.
Possibly. Yeah.
All right. I was so glad when you came back to your theory in the last episode. I was worried for a minute there that you're going to let JK get you when you were so close. I know I helped lead you astray, but in my defense, I thought you'd fight me on it. That's probably the lawyer in me, or the Slytherin. Funny story, I was actually a Ravenclaw for the longest time, but I took the sorting quiz before I went to Orlando in celebration of passing the bar exam. And that's when I was sorted into the Slytherin house. That may not say good things about my profession or my house. So yeah, law school turned me into a Slytherin.
I mean...
But
I'm not going to say it, but we all know what we're thinking. Yeah, uh-huh.
But I got to see the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, so I guess it was worth it. I'm not sure if Josh will want me on his side now, but I really think the future knowledge does affect how you think about the first chapters of Book 6. I'd been reading the book since I was 10, so there was no way I wasn't going to finish the series by the time Book 6 came out. But the Book 5 fatigue was real, annoying me and then making me gross cry isn't exactly my idea of a good time. I wanted something magical and amazing to bring me back into the world. The Muggle Prime Minister just didn't do it for me. I definitely sympathize with how Josh has been feeling. The best stuff is yet to come, and I think you'll enjoy the chapters much more when you have more context. Constant vigilance, Josh.
It's true. Yeah, we haven't heard that in a while.
It's true.
Yeah.
And when we did hear it, it wasn't even the real Moody. Huh.
Deception.
All right. The next email from Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Says, hi, guys. I have to... Oh, boy. Disagree with the whole World Series, Josh.
Oh, boy.
Can't disagree with your dominance in the sport, but had to Google to see if we even had a national team. For the record, we do. They're called the Diamond Blacks, but never made it to the qualifying rounds of the World Classic as far as I can tell. Anyway, moving on. Once again, you read the coffee grounds right, Muggle, in your predictions of Snape being Defense Against Dark Arts teacher. A spider-free hat off to you. Things seem to be already more tense between Harry and Snape, if that was even possible. Should make for an interesting year. With Slughorn in charge of potions, we finally get some detail on how potions are made. And it's interesting just how accurate you need to be and how involved they are. I started to compare potions to a mix of Muggle baking and chemistry. My 16-year-old self would never have deviated from the textbook. My nerdy self would have been too scared to get in trouble with the teacher or blow myself up. If you haven't already discussed it, how about your 16-year-old selves? Would you have been part of that group of boys in the back class experimenting with the chemicals?
Oh, me? No, goodness no. I was straight and narrow the entire way through school.
Same here.
Yeah.
I'd be rereading every instruction in the book 5 times before I'd touched anything.
Yeah, yeah.
It says, hope you both have a nice time of year celebrating your Thanksgiving with good friends. Whether with good friends, good food, friends, family, or even watching some weird sports. Pip, pip. All right, there's... From New Zealand now, we got a pip, pip.
Yep.
Did we say something last week that people are including that?
No, it was in this chapter.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the characters said pip, pip.
Okay. That explains it.
Yeah.
No,
that's why I said I almost put it in my notes this week, but then I didn't.
I guess I was distracted with the kids on the plane when I was reading this.
Now, I can't remember who it was, but somebody definitely said pip, pip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes.
That seemed too weird to...
You're like, wait a second. What is going on here?
Yeah.
It was totally...
Like, really, I'm starting to think you created, like, an alternate room requirement or something. The anti-professor.
Yeah, we're going to overthrow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we just got a picture from our other headmistress.
Okay.
Said...
Is it finally the artwork that I've been waiting for?
What was that?
Is it finally the artwork I've been waiting for?
You got your artwork. What are you talking about?
What? No. The Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
Yeah, she sent you a picture of Slughorn last week.
Yeah, that was wrong. That was inaccurate.
Oh, she says, just in case I can't get her an email, here's a picture for Josh. So, shoot. I forgot to rename this one. Here we go. Oh, why are you going in sideways? It's not how a picture was. Well, you're going to have to tilt your head to look at it, apparently. Oh, no, flipped around. Never mind.
That worked.
It was just weird.
Yay! There it is. Also, I love the legs.
I'm pretty sure Snape just pushed him over.
Yeah. Also, I don't think Snape's ever had that expression on his face in his life. Even if it is just like a half smirk, there's no way that's a Snape face.
Well, that's how Mel B thinks it goes.
Even after celebrating being victorious, nope.
All right. If you say so. Anyway,
Thanks,
for anyone wondering, yeah, that picture will definitely be up in the show notes, so you can all take a look.
Thank you, Mel B.
Now we got an email from a guy who's been mentioned a few times already, Mr. Atari Alex.
Hello, Alex.
Says, Dear Josh and Matt, happy early Turkey Day. This is going to be my first Thanksgiving dealing with snow, so that should be interesting. Maybe not good, but interesting.
Yep.
Never thought about that. I suppose he is from Texas. So. Yeah. Well, welcome to the North.
Yeah.
It's a good time. But enough small talk about the weather. Let's talk about what everyone wants to know. How many steps are at Hogwarts? You told him he'd figure it out.
I know. I need to think about what I say sometimes.
Even though I knew it would be pointless, I did a Google search to see if the answer was already out there, but it wasn't. Google struck out again when it failed to tell me the average number of steps that are in a castle. Probably because, architecture is unique and stuff. So I had to get creative. I looked at some gameplay footage of the PC version of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And after counting a ton of stairs, it seems as though the developers decided that one story is equivalent to 16 steps. If I remember, the email last week stated that Hogwarts was 17 stories. So the total number of steps it would take to get from the bottom would be 17 times 16, 272. According to the Harry Potter wiki, however, there are actually 142 staircases in the castle. So the total number of steps in the castle is 2,272. I think that's about as accurate a number I can give you.
I'll take it.
I'll take it as well.
Yeah.
The fact that, he put time into it.
Yep.
How can you say no to that?
If anyone could dispute it, by all means.
Yeah. Now I have to apologize for an error from last week.
Whoa,
I incorrectly...
Whoa. Did he really say that?
Yes.
Wow. Alex is turning a new leaf here.
I incorrectly stated that Blaise Zabini had never been mentioned in the books before, which was apparently an oversight on my part. That, in conjunction with the fact that I also didn't know who Mark Evans was, seems to indicate that I'm not a real Harry Potter fan. I've already sent in the paperwork to have my fan club membership revoked. Anywho, on to this week's chapters. Harry gets his bum pulled out of the fire by someone else as usual. We get our first real encounter with Emo Tonks, which is just a bummer. Harry also complains about how far it is from the train station to the castle, and how he's never made that walk before, even though they walk at least that far every time they go to Hogsmeade Village. Then Harry gets into the castle, and we learn that Josh's Muggle theory of Professor Snape teaching Defense Against Dark Arts was correct, which just fuels my theory that he knows what's going to happen in these books. After that, we get a touching scene between Neville and Professor McGonagall, and some riveting class schedule and conflict resolution. Harry learns that his dream of being Auror isn't dead after all, which has always confused me. If Snape only lets O students into his new classes, why do Ron and Hermione get to take Defense Against Dark Arts when they only made E? Seems inconsistent. Maybe he's not as picky about his Defense Against Dark Arts.
Yeah, that's true.
Which doesn't seem like Snape thing to do, but that is a solid question, Alex.
Yeah,
I will give you that. But you can't be handing out O's all over the place. So
that's true.
Oh well. Then we get a peek into Professor Slughorn's version of potions class, which seems a lot more enjoyable. Harry manages to win some Felix potion, which totally won't come back into play for the story. And we get our first introduction into the titular Half-Blood Prince. He seems pretty smart. Fun fact, anytime I make something that requires stirring, I do 7 counterclockwise stirs. I feel like it always makes the food taste just a little bit better.
Oh, I am so using that during Thanksgiving meals.
I was going to say, Josh, I hear you're cooking Thanksgiving dinner this year. I think you know what you have to do.
Yep, I will definitely use that technique.
Yep. But that's all we have from Alex this week. Rather enjoyable as always.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Alex.
And our final email this week goes to Wrestler Joe.
What's up, Wrestler Joe?
Says, hey guys, missed my first email in a long time last week. My apologies. The holiday season is my busy season between work and ministry stuff, but I'm pushing to get through this. Pushing through to get this in. I wanted to share a couple of things before I jump into this week's chapters. So recently we had our local elections, and for county sheriff, there was someone running whose name was Errol Toulan. Sure. I swear, all I could think about was the scene at the borough where Errol crashes into the window and hits the ground. And now that's what I think he's going to do in office.
Oh,
but
no.
hopefully not.
Yeah.
As far as the teachers on the train, I always assumed that it was up to them whether they wanted to take the train or find their own means of getting to Hogwarts. I think most wizards would find it easier to take their own way over, but in Lupin and Slughorn's case, they had a reason for being on the train. Lupin being to protect Harry from Sirius, and Slughorn's being to build those Slug Club relationships that have been so effective for him in the past. Now onto this week's chapters. I love when Tonks is in the story, but I don't like seeing her in this depressed state. I wish she'd overcome it. Anyways, they mentioned that her Patronus changed, which I didn't realize could happen. What do you think has to happen for a Patronus to change? Which I think we kind of discussed.
Yeah, we talked about that.
The last person I'd want to see would be Snape picking me up at the front gates. And he has to do it in such an arrogant way, too. Not fun. Congrats to Josh on your prediction that Snape would become a Defense Against Dark Arts teacher. Harry makes a good point, though, when he says that this will be his last year. What do you think? Do you think Snape breaks the curse, or will something happen to Snape at the end of the year?
He will be at Hogwarts. Maybe he'll just be like a janitor, like Filch.
Okay, so you're even going as far to say as he'll be at Hogwarts yet?
Oh, he'll still be at Hogwarts.
Okay.
Yeah, he will be at Hogwarts through the end of this series.
Wait, I was pretty sure you've mentioned he's not going to get killed,
right?
But okay, you think he'll still be at Hogwarts?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Just not teaching that class.
Sure. Yeah, he gets 1 year as Defense Against Dark Arts.
I don't even think he'll go back to teaching potions. I'll even put that out there.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Mark that down, folks.
Or maybe if he does get killed, he'll come back as just like a ghost. Ghost Snape, just hanging around.
Ghost Snape.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's even more frightening than normal Snape.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Because they just be floating around aimlessly, doing his Snape things.
But as a ghost, freely going wherever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Professor McGonagall versus Neville Scramble seems like it'd be a headline as any wizarding dueling championship that may or may not exist. I enjoyed listening to Snape talk about the dark arts. Although a bit creepy, I like hearing him describe what it's actually like. And so Harry appears to have lucked out by getting the potions book of the Half-Blood Prince. Surprise, surprise. So Harry wins this liquid luck. Something that that I'm sure he'd want to save for the right moment to use. Maybe when he tries to battle Tom? What do you think, Josh?
I mean, yes, I would like for him to save it for the right time also. I don't think he will, because he's a dumb 16-year-old kid. And his name is Harry Potter. Yeah. And he's friends with Ron Weasley.
Also true.
Yeah. So. Maybe he'll just end up giving it away like he did his winnings for the Triwizard Tournament.
It's true. He does have a hint of generosity in him.
Yeah. We'll see.
It says, I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving spent with your families. And that's all.
Thanks, Joe. Is that last email?
That is last email.
Awesome. Well, thank you to everybody for writing in. Always a pleasure talking with you guys, getting yelled at by you guys. I enjoy it.
Do you really?
I do.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
Of course I do. One last thing. We have a giveaway for next week. Matt, what are we giving away?
Well, it looks like we're back to school, and unfortunately I don't have quills. I don't think many of you had use for quills, so We're going to go a slightly different route with another pen. I've described these before. This is a pen, P-E-N.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, the fanciest pens I've ever laid eyes on, got my hands on. And this week we had a lot of Slytherin talk.
Too much, one would say, Matt.
Between Snape and Slughorn, that's a lot of Slytherin going on. So we're going to give away the Slytherin pen.
Yes. Now we need a way to give it away.
We do.
I'm going to be honest with you here. I was originally going to ask everybody to write in an email, talesfromgodrixhollow@gmail.com, and help me name my new Pygmy Puff. That's what I was going to do. People like naming things.
It's true.
But I'm changing it on the fly, Matt.
All right.
I want people to write in and let me know what their 3 cents would be in their love potion.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I had to. That's so good. Right?
It was. It
yeah.
was.
Yeah. So we're going to use that. Just write in talesfromgodrixhollow@gmail.com and write out what 3 scents would consist of the love potion that would work on you. If you want to go into detail about why or what, explain why WD-40 works for you, let us know. But you don't have to. You don't have to go into any elaborate explanation at all.
Just a list of 3 smells is fine.
Yep. So get those in by next week, and we'll announce another winner on episode 74. Next week, we are reading 2 more chapters, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, chapters 10 and 11.
You got it.
And I'm looking forward to it. But first, I want to say this is the week of Thanksgiving, and I know we have a very large international fan base that Thanksgiving doesn't mean anything to.
Yep.
And I understand that. And,
and honestly, this is one of my favorites. It's like you don't even have like an alternate thing you can wish them. Like you get around like Christmas and it's like Happy Holidays or Merry New Year, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get this and it's like Thanksgiving or an average Thursday where you probably just have to go to work and do your thing and you don't care at all that it's just another Thursday.
Right. And if you want to get down to it, there's probably some fundamental issues with the fact that we still celebrate Thanksgiving. Sure. That's a discussion for a whole nother time. Regardless, I do want to say thank you to everybody out there for everything that you do for us, for listening, for sharing, for interacting, with donating, with every aspect of what we do. You guys are super supportive. I love everybody for doing so, and I think I speak for Matt here when I say we can't thank you enough for making this show and this community as awesome as it is. We sit back and talk about it, but this is because this is what it is because of you guys. So
yeah,
thank you to everybody for that. And
thank you indeed.
Warmest wishes for this holiday, however you choose to enjoy it or celebrate it. Or, you know what? I hope you guys have a great Thursday. Just go out there.
We could all use a few more of those.
Kick butt on Thursday, And I deeply apologize to anybody that may have to work Thursday or Friday in retail.
I feel for you.
Yeah.
I used to work retail. I honestly, every time I see it, I applaud businesses that close on Thursday.
Yep. More of them should. And so I'm sorry. We are thinking about you. So everyone out, just have a great week. That's all I could ask. You can find me on Twitter. I'll be busy cooking Thanksgiving dinner if you want to enjoy the festivities. If you can't personally come to my door and enjoy the flavors that's going to be happening in my kitchen, I'll probably be tweeting out pictures and such so you can enjoy me over there, over at The Noise with a Y. Be sure to follow the show on Twitter at Tales from GH. You can follow the Instagram, Tales from Godric's Hollow, the Facebook group, or Facebook page, one of those things, facebook.com/Tales from Godric's Hollow. The website where you can find the show notes and the merchandise and everything else that you may need to know about us, talesfromgodricshollow.com. And if you'd like to support us at any level with everything that we're doing here for you guys, the amazing community, you could do so over at Patreon, patreon.com/Tales from Godric's Hollow. Matt, where can the people say hello to you at?
Well, you can always find me personally on Twitter at As a Matter of Matt. Otherwise, for any emails, giveaways, spoilers, non-spoilers, whatever you want to write and talk to me about, you can send those to talesfromgodricshollow@gmail.com. And I know a few people have already mentioned it in emails, but I just want to take one more moment to say happy birthday, Josh.
Thank you.
I know I'll probably say it again personally on the actual day, but
sure.
Hey, this way I won't forget.
That's right. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to be busy all day cooking.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be enjoyable, though, right?
Absolutely. Unless things go
cook.
absolutely off the rails, you know.
If
the fire department gets called, then
okay,
probably not the most memorable birthday. Well,
memorable,
best.
But yeah.
It'll make for a good podcast discussion.
Remember that time you burned down the house on your birthday?
Yeah. There's only two ways this could go, Matt. Wonderfully or absolutely awful. We're shooting for the former.
For the former.
Thank you all. You guys are amazing. Have a great week, great holiday, great whatever it is that you need to be great. And we'll catch you next week. Till then, muggle out.
Mischief managed.